This report is sponsored by Unbound.org. Padres get a big win last night over the Chicago Cubs. They will be back today with Walker Buehler on the mound. Mason Miller did lose his scoreless streak on a controversial call down the third base line. And we got Lakers Rockets tomorrow night. Hear that game right here on San Diego Sports 760. Ime Udoka leaving open the possibility of Kevin Durant returning. The Lakers are also expecting Austin Reeves to make his playoff debut this season for the Lake Show. This report has been sponsored by Unbound.org.
We will start from the beginning.
Ladies and gentlemen.
I'm Ben Fletcher. That's Sammy Long.
That's how it starts.
Guess what?
On the ground right side, Cronenworth will get a second for one on the first. It's late, one will score. So that ends the scoreless streak for Mason Miller.
You see, he's not a machine. He's a man.
Bottom line is
9-7 Padres victory as they take game one of the series.
the series with the Cubs continues tonight at Petco. Aztecs basketball adds a real pro. No, I mean a real pro from Croatia. We'll talk about the move. Plus,
I want winners.
Over 223.5, Denver and Minnesota.
My boy, Blue.
I like Oklahoma City for a beatdown, -10.5 tonight.
The hype is over.
I got the Magic +3.5 at home. Getting it done against Detroit.
well done, sir.
Who do you think you are? I am.
Now, from the San Diego Sports 760 studios, we get in the zone with Fletch and Savvy.
Yeah, let's get it going on Tuesday. What's happening, everybody? Ben Fletcher, Sammy Long with you till 2 o'clock today. Sammy will keep the party rolling from 2 to 3. Schaefer and Sliwa, our brand new afternoon drive show, will take you the rest of the way home. Very busy day today. We got more Motley Crue tickets for you. They're playing September 18th at the North Island Credit Union Amphitheater. Do the Crew, baby. That's what I always say. Those tickets are coming up in hour number 2 today, so keep listening for your chance to win a pair of tickets to go see Motley Crue. We got Kevin Acee, our Padres insider, coming on the show at 1:30 today. We'll talk all sorts of fair or foul and Manny Machado's injury with Kevin Acee, and also Matt Money Smith. Money Mun going to be joining us coming up at 12:30 to talk about the Chargers draft, whether you love them or you hate them. The Chargers had a good draft. The Chargers have a good team, and I'm curious to see what Matt Money Smith, the play-by-play voice of the Chargers, has to say about them.
And we'll get an update on Petros Papadakis.
Yeah, and how stinky his food is that he brings into the studio. I would imagine it is pretty stinky. I'm not positive. But before we get into any of that, Sammy, you ready to have a great show?
I am ready to have a great show.
You like the best show ever?
The best one we could do.
Do you want to talk about how hosed we got by Oklahoma City last night, or do you want to just move on?
No, I want to get to it.
Okay,
It's been on my mind. Very frustrating last night. Brutal beat on long shot. I'm giving underdog home dogs +3.5 Orlando Magic, which are proving to be better than the Detroit Pistons so far in this series. The over, Minnesota holds up there under the bargain. Denver puts on an absolute clinic offensively.
What a fun game, by the way. Minnesota and Denver, they hate each other. Which is a blast to watch. I wish this game or this series could go 14 games.
And the Oklahoma City Thunder. I need you to win by 11. You decide to win by 9. I don't even know. They're way more talented than the Phoenix Suns. The Phoenix Suns didn't even belong on the floor with them, and yet we refused to close out games. Very disappointed that we were 2 points away from hitting a 3-leg parlay.
Well, there's always today, as they say in gambling. There's always the next day, as they say in Major League Baseball. You're as good as your next pitcher. Sammy, you are as good as your next parlay that you make, and you'll have a good one coming up at 12:45. I have no doubt. We are going to start with the Padres. I don't know how many people were watching last night. Mason Miller gets on the mound in the 9th inning after a really productive day at the plate by the Padres offense. How about Ty France? The dude's really coming alive with the bat. Manny Machado stays hot, had a couple of doubles last night. He does leave the game with an apparent injury. And don't worry, Padre fans, Craig Stammen saying afterwards, he's fine. It was precautionary. So probably won't see Manny for another couple of months.
Yeah, that doesn't really mean much when it comes from the Padres.
Right. It was a leg injury. They said he just kind of looked different coming out of the box and he was a little bit slower. He had a couple of slides at second base. So maybe Manny gets another day off today. I don't know. We'll see tonight when they take on the Cubs again. But how about a really productive offensive day backing up Randy Vasquez, who had one of his subpar starts on the season so far, but the offense comes and saves him. He actually gets the win in the effort. And Mason Miller comes out in the 9th inning. And there's a weird play, right? There's a weird play where it's a swinging bunt by the Cubs. The ball's kind of trickling up the third baseline. Ty France does exactly what Ty France is supposed to do. This wasn't a play where he would be able to come in bare hand, fire to first and get the out. This was like a perfect swinging bunt by the Cubs. So Ty France waits. and he waits for the ball to get out of bounds just across the foul line. And he picks it up the second there was dirt between the ball and the foul line. And the camera will confirm that if this went to court, Ty France would be the winner. Unfortunately, that's not a thing because the umpire called it a fair ball, said Ty France picked it up too early. Video clearly shows the ball is out of bounds. You do a little digging and say, well, why was this unreviewable? Because that's what the broadcast said. This is an unreviewable play. Apparently, according to official replay protocols, fair foul decisions are only subject to review if the ball lands or is first touched at or beyond the set of positions of the first and third base umpires. And also because the ball was a swinging bunt that stopped rolling before reaching third base, the call was considered a judgment call by home plate umpire. But the home plate umpire got it wrong. So that player gets to first base. That player ends up scoring. That player ends up breaking Mason Miller's scoreless streak. Padres still win the game, but kind of crappy way for the scoreless streak to end.
Right. It's obviously got the call wrong. Now,
how is that not reviewable?
You could go both ways. You could go, did that start the rally for the Cubs, the quasi rally for the Cubs where they got bases loaded and nobody out? I guess it makes it sting a little bit less when he bounced the one in the dirt and Fermin didn't block it, so they got through. It is such a Mason Miller that the way he's going to give up a run would be
a wild pitch.
A wild pitch, not because he got hit.
It's not going to be someone hitting the baseball. No, it's going to be a wild pitch, which I thought Fermin probably should have blocked it, but it's not an easy job blocking for Mason.
Right.
Miller.
I mean, it's phenomenal. It's a testament to how good he is that we're sitting here. He gave up 2 runs and they were off very, I can't even describe how you got around quirky plays. They weren't just like getting batted outside the Dansby Swanson
the
liner.
Padres still won. They won the game.
Well, I think it was important that they won that way. That was what was exciting about last night is they won a game where the bats came through. It wasn't some unbelievable pitching performance. Hell, your star closer, for reasons we just got into, odd scenarios, but didn't have his best night compared to a normal Mason Miller night. That wasn't his best night. Swanson got the hit. Like, it wasn't his best stuff. And yet they were able to win because the bats came alive. It was great seeing Machado. I know he got hurt in the game, but 3 for 4. Ty France got involved, 2 for 3. Fernando had a couple of hits. So it was nice seeing everyone get involved in a performance where it wasn't. It's great that the Padres can get up 2-0 and shut it down with the bullpen. That can't be relied upon every night. It was nice seeing a game where the Padres just took over and won the game with their bats, and the pitching wasn't even really a question mark because they wasn't their best stuff last night.
It is fun to have something to get mad at. It is fun that when Mason Miller has the first night where he looks like a human in a long time, we get to point blame somewhere else. And I'm pointing the blame directly at the home plate umpire from last night, which I encourage everyone else to do as well. And also Major League Baseball, like everything else is reviewable, but that's not reviewable when literally 2 seconds after it happened on the TV broadcast, we get the down the line shot that shows that ball was clearly foul. It's outrageous. But Fernando Tatis Jr., a couple hits last night. Jackson Merrill with a nice RBI last night. Manny Machado had 3 hits before he left the game with injury. Gavin Sheets, the big home run. Good to see the offense pop up and kind of back up their pitcher. And then Ty France, man, the dude's a revelation. You got to figure out a way to get him everyday playing time, I think, with the way he's hitting the baseball right now. All right, let's get to the big 3 here of our number 1. We have those Motley Crue tickets coming up for you very, very soon. Kevin Acee, Matt Money Smith on the show today. We'll tell you about all the ways you can interact with the show right after this.
Your lunch break is here. Ready to go back to the office and knock the socks off your friends? Coworkers? It's time for the top stories of the day. The Big 3.
Now, who had money on Miguel Andujar and Ty France leaving this team in batting average at this point in the season? Anybody?
Crazy.
Anybody? Not me. All right. If you would like to watch the show, a couple ways for you to do it. On X at Fletch and Sammy. Find us there. On YouTube at San Diego Sports 760. Find us there. Drop a comment on YouTube. Text line is open, 70470. Start your message with team. And of course, the free iHeartRadio app is and always will be the very best way to consume radio. Open that up, search San Diego Sports 760, add us to your presets, drop us a talk back. We'd love to hear from you. Sammy, where are we heading in the world of sports?
So NBA Rookie of the Year got announced last night. Cooper Flagg ended up winning it. A lot of people had I wouldn't say had a problem with it because Cooper Flagg was certainly deserving, but Con Knippel was right there, his former Duke teammate. Do you think it was fair that Cooper Flagg won it over him when Con Knippel had one of the best 3-point shooting seasons we've ever seen?
I know it's not supposed to come into play, but if Con Knippel was incredible in the play-in game where he was terrible, Do you think that this switches the other way?
100%.
I think so too.
100%.
I think so too. Cooper Flagg was great this year, but he was on a bad team. So I oftentimes like to look back at the way NBA MVPs, Super Bowl, or NFL MVPs used to be named, and it was the best player on the best team, because clearly you are having a dominant presence. That's not really the way it is anymore. Cooper Flagg probably had the best stats. He ended up scoring 40, 50 more points than Knipple over the year. So Cooper Flagg probably does deserve it. And by the way, the Mavericks have a lot to be excited in Cooper Flagg. I was wrong. He was ready for the NBA. I thought he could have used another year of college. Cooper Flagg's fantastic. He will be for years. I do think that Knipple should have gotten it. I think the better player on the better team should have been the thing, rather than just the most flashy story in the popularity contest of Cooper Flagg.
I think this would have been a lot closer had he not played for the Hornets, because I don't think outside of diehard NBA fans, people were, quote, really paying as much attention to how good he was playing during the year. If Con Knipple played for the Lakers or the Knicks or the Heat or a team like that, I think this would have been a much tighter race, because Con Knipple is unbelievable. But Cooper Flagg, like, Con Knipple is not going to be the face of the NBA. Cooper Flagg has the potential to be the face of the NBA, especially with guys like LeBron, Curry, KD, their careers winding down. You're kind of looking for who is that next face of American basketball. We know that, overseas guys have Wemby and Luka and Jokic and Shea in Canada. Who's the next face of American basketball? You could argue. Is it Halliburton? Is it Anthony Edwards? Is it Jason Tatum? Cooper Flagg has the ability to be that. I mean, this was a guy who was 17 playing against the U.S. Olympic team and balling out in practice. Like, couldn't stop raving about him. I do think Cooper Flagg deserved it. He was the facilitator on the offense. Con Knipple was a supplementary piece to LaMelo Ball and Kobe White when he got there, and Brandon Miller. But I do think it was probably a bit of should have been a tighter vote than it was, and I think it would have been had he not played for the Charlotte Hornets. All right, the Pittsburgh Steelers placed a unrestricted free agent tender on Aaron Rodgers. This is per Adam Schefter. It's an odd tender, because meaning that he can accept a 10% raise off last year's salary, which would pay him about $15 million this season. Another condition of the tender, Rodgers would only be able to sign with the Steelers once training camp begins. So it's not a typical franchise tag type tender, but at the end of the day, Aaron Rodgers, if he comes back, will only be playing for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Do you like?
Well, I don't think that's necessarily true. I think he actually has a window of negotiation before training camp begins where he could actually sign with a different team. The reason the Steelers put this on him now is because if he does end up signing with another team,
he gets a compensatory pick.
They get a compensatory pick. Exactly right. So I think that part of this is, can we go an entire offseason without a little bit of Aaron Rodgers drama? And the answer is no. We also never see this used, the unrestricted free agent tender. This is ridiculously rare. But in this case, I do think it calls for it. This is the Steelers bringing out a little bit of an insurance policy, by the way, right after they drafted Drew Aller, which is another insurance policy, just in case S really hits the fan and they need to play quarterbacks. I think that this is the Steelers saying, look, Aaron, we know you're going to be finicky up until the moment it really matters for us. We would like for you to make this decision sooner or later. You're welcome back with us. But just in case you're not, we want to make sure our asses are covered and we got a pick out of it. He could still go play anywhere he wants. Like Aaron Rodgers, he could retire.
I don't understand why the Pittsburgh Steelers are in love with Aaron Rodgers.
They kind of need him. Look at their quarterback room.
Well,
it's like Will
I get
Howard,
that.
Drew Aller.
They're trying to get to next year's draft with all the top quarterback talent. It's going to be one of the most loaded quarterback classes we've seen in a long time. We thought it was going to be this year. All those guys went back to school outside of Mendoza. It's going to be stacked. But with Aaron Rodgers, you're not picking in that. Aaron Rodgers will win you enough games to where it's going to be the same thing every year. You're not going to beat the Bengals in the division with Joe Burrow. You're not going to beat the Ravens with Baltimore. Yeah, maybe you can beat the Browns. You're going to have a 7-8 win season. And then we're back in the same spot where you're picking at 15, 16, 17 and not in a position to try to get one of these franchise altering guys. Look, I get it. It's the Mike McCarthy came there. I'm assuming that you talked to Aaron Rodgers and they're kind of back, wanting to get back together after the whole Green Bay kind of break up there. But it's so blah right now. Does either team want the other one? If you're Pittsburgh, all Aaron Rodgers is going to do is going to knock you out of an ability to get a top pick. And if you're Aaron Rodgers, you have maybe one season left and you want to try to go win a Super Bowl. Do you think Pittsburgh is a realistic chance for you to go win a Super Bowl? I highly doubt that's the case.
One more we could squeeze in here.
Yeah. So the Orlando Magic go up 3-1 last night over the Detroit Pistons. Only been a few times in history that especially during the 7-game era, that the number 1 seed has potentially went down in the first round. Jalen Duren said blank ain't over when asked about this. Is the Orlando Magic this year's Indiana Pacers?
I'd say
last year's Indiana Pacers.
They're a lot of fun, man. You watch this Orlando Magic team, I think they got a lot of elements of things that you could absolutely despise. Like LaMelo Ball is a polarizing figure, wildly talented player, and he is fun to watch whether you love him or you hate him. The Magic are a lot of fun, man. I could see them making a little bit of a run here.
They're good. Now, Franz Wagner just got hurt. He's got a hamstring strain, so we'll see how long he's out. But this team, again, was not an 8 seed. They should have been a 4 or 5 seed. They fell to the 8 on the last day. Anthony Black, Jalen Suggs, Wendell Carter, a lot of their teams sustained injuries throughout the season. This could be Paolo Banchero's kind of sitting there in the East, potentially becoming that superstar we all thought he could be when he was the number 1 pick coming out of Duke. This team could beat a lot of teams in the East. I'm not saying that they're going to beat Boston or they're the favorite now, but they are certainly a live dog if they get through Detroit, because if they get through Detroit outside of Boston, I think they can beat anyone in that conference.
All right, we're going to take a quick break. We got tickets for you. Motley Crue coming up on the show today. Matt Money Smith going to be joining us in just a little bit. Lots of fun happening on a Tuesday. It's San Diego Sports 760. You're listening live on the iHeartRadio app. Everyone hear that keyword? Deposit. Take that over to sportssd.com right now for your shot at winning $1,000. Deposit is the keyword for this hour. We got 9 chances every day for you to win $1,000 with the bonus bucks contest every hour from 9 a.m. through 5 p.m. Listen for the keyword, then enter it at sportssd.com. Your next chance to win $1,000 is happening right now. Deposit is the keyword. You can get that in at sportssd.com. All right, text line is up 913. This text came in at 6:36 this morning. So thank you, 913, for waking up thinking about me and Sammy. I appreciate
Hell
that.
yeah, 913.
Said, what do you boys think of the new Croatian sensation who is now in Aztec? Let's go.
Yeah.
Now, I did a little reading on this last night. It sounds like he may have to sit out a portion of next season based on the amount of time he's played professionally overseas. I don't think it'll be long, but if that's the case, that kind of sucks. Outside of that, I'm stoked about it, man. 6'9".
Hold on. Why would he have to sit out?
It's something with the international playing professionally overseas, the amount of games played. There's some deep-seated rule in the NCAA. I'll be honest, I did a little bit of reading, not a lot of bit of reading, but there's a chance he may have to sit out some of next season, but will be back for the majority of next season.
Well, and Dutcher was saying on with Schaefer and Sliwa that they were looking to get, this was a couple days ago, to get a few players from the world.
I think they should. Look at who was literally the best player against San Diego State this last year. The most dominant single player they played against, not including the Michigan and Arizona games. It was Tomislav Buljan from New Mexico.
Right, like 24-20 or something.
Yeah. 24-18 in the game at New Mexico. So I think it's the smart thing to do. It's a market that you can tap as a head coach right now. You should do it. 858. Thank you, Fletch. Yesterday, when you said Cubs Padres tickets were down to $15, I grabbed 2 and went full send to Petco Park for that amazing W. But holy sheets, how did both umpires blow that Mason Miller streak killer call? Absolutely disgusting. They could get that wrong even after replayed on the big screen. Yeah, we went through why they couldn't review it. It's kind of a silly Major League Baseball rule. If that ball had the same situation just past third base, like if it landed just out of bounds, it would have been reviewed. But not before. And
in baseball, when there's so little to review,
right?
I mean, it's such a dumb rule in baseball that, like, in football, there's a gazillion things to look at. In basketball, there's a gazillion things to look at. In baseball, outside of ABS has added a new element to it, but did he hit the bag, or was there fan interference on going up for a home run?
Did the tag happen before he touched home plate? Like, there's so little to do.
It's like, and you can't review it going out of. I mean, it's just crazy to me.
Especially like. Okay, the Padres won the game. Not that consequential, right? But in the grand scheme of things, very consequential, because who knows if there's 1 out, nobody on. Mason Miller probably pitches a little different than no outs, 1 person on. Like, it's a different scenario.
Well, and again, I didn't really know how feasible it was to be thinking about a Cy Young for Mason Miller, even though he's been unbelievable. But this is the kind of thing why it's so hard for a closer to win it, because they have to be perfect. So you, over 162 nights, you don't have the same opportunities that a starter has. And then you look at a game like last night that you're going to look at, no one outside of people in San Diego are going to remember 4 months from now that
the ball was inbound or out of bounds.
They're going to look at, we gave up 2 earned runs.
Right. So I'm glad you bring that up, Sammy, because I just checked his odds of winning Cy Young yesterday were the best they'd ever been. Today, they've dropped 8% from where they were yesterday.
Right. It's not even feasible. It's like a receiver in the NFL trying to win MVP when their quarterback is in the race. Like,
and 5 words for you, but what if I win? So I still have that bet. I would still like to win that bet. Mason Miller's just
how much money do you throw on homer bets?
Probably too much. That's like all I bet.
I'm just bummed that I make you a bunch of money on long shots and then you throw it all on Brock Purdy to win MVP and the Niners win the Super Bowl.
True story. Every time one of Sammy's long shots have won, I have taken a portion of the profit and put it on either the Niners or Brock Purdy.
858 hit a winner last night. Sammy with the W on long shots paid for my night at Petco. Hey,
wait,
I'm taking credit for it.
Somebody won on your long shots that didn't win. It was a 2 for 3.
Well, maybe he got Oklahoma City when they were 9-point favorite.
All right. Well, we have Matt Money Smith coming up next. I did want to mention Walker Buehler going to be pitching today for the Padres. We're starting to find some interesting things out now that we're like a month into the season, almost exactly. Nick Castellanos is kind of becoming unplayable, which sucks. That was a fun offseason signing that the Padres got, and you were hoping he could come in and hit for power. He really, nothing's happened with Nick Castellanos yet. So I don't know at what point you stop playing him altogether, because you look at who is producing massively for the Padres. Ty France, Miguel Andujar, Luis Campusano, none of them are everyday players. All of them probably should
Well,
be.
and Castellanos is playing because he has a name. It's like if you took away the name of Nick Castellanos that he used to be a big time player, should he really be playing over Ty France and Andujar? Probably not.
There's the sexy part of Nick Castellanos, which is he can hit bombs. And like you desperately need power in this Padres lineup, but he's not providing anything for you. So where do you turn to? For me, Miguel Andujar looks damn good at the plate. Ty France looks as comfortable as he's been in his entire Major League Baseball career. And Luis Campusano, a budding superstar. I don't know. He went from being a relevant backup catcher to most hated by all Padres fans to all of a sudden one of the most comfortable guys in the batter's box. So I don't know exactly what the Padres are going to do moving forward, but we're starting to see the everyday guys versus the schmoes. And unfortunately, right now, Nick Castellanos has kind of been a schmo. All right, Matt Money Smith on the other side. Let's talk about the Chargers draft, about the Chargers year coming up, and if this old defense can cater to a very young, exciting offense. That's next on San Diego Sports 760, live on the iHeartRadio app.
This was sponsored by Cal Fire. Padres coming off a big win, 9-7 over the Cubs last night. They'll be back, same time, same place, 6:40. Edward Cabrera will be going for Chicago, and Walker Buehler will be going for the Padres. And the Lakers and Rockets tomorrow night back in Los Angeles for Game 5. Ime Udoka leaving open the possibility of Kevin Durant making his return after missing games 1, 3, and 4. And Austin Reeves, part of the Lakers, a lot of optimism in the organization. He will be able to make his return tomorrow night as well. Hear that game right here on San Diego Sports 760. Wildfire safety starts at home. It's important to harden your home and create defensible space around your property to break wildfire's path to your doorstep. Start by cleaning gutters and trimming trees. Keep them 10 feet apart. Learn more at readyforwildfire.org.
San Diego Sports 760, Ben Fletcher, Sammy Long, Motley Crue tickets coming up on the show today. But right now we got Matt Money Smith, play-by-play voice for the Los Angeles Chargers. He also does a show with Petros Papadakis up in Los Angeles on AM 570. That's the right station, right? AM 570, our sister station.
Yeah.
Matt Money Smith joining us right now. Money Mon, what's up?
What's happening, Ben? What's up, Sammy? How we doing, man?
We're doing great. It's good to hear your voice. NFL season, I believe we're at like 134 days, something like that, still to go. The draft is in the books. How are you feeling a couple of days post-draft about what the Chargers did?
Yeah, I like what they did. I like that Joe Ortiz, the general manager of the Bolts, moves up and down the board, takes advantage of opportunities to acquire picks. I've always liked the idea of taking as many bites at the apple as you can. The draft is by no means an exact science. So if you can get out of there with 8 guys instead of 5, like they originally had 5 picks, I feel a lot better about it. And he's done a really good job in his 2 years and his 2 drafts of finding talent late, whether that's starting corners in the 5th round and Cam Hart and Tarheeb Still, starting tight end and Aronde Gadsden in the 5th round, a rotational safety and RJ Mickens in the 7th. Like, he's done a really, really good job of finding value late. So I like the idea that instead of having just a 4th and a 6th, he got out of day 2, by trading back with 3/4, 3/6, and a 5th.
What'd you make of the Messidor ad? Because it feels like a lot of people gave Ruben Bain a lot of the headlines, his teammate from Miami, and he fell to the bottom of the first round because of his age, being 25 years old. But you kind of get the feeling he could be a game-wrecking pass rusher to succeed Khalil Mack.
Yeah, I didn't think there was any chance he was going to be there. I thought that Bain was going to probably go in the top 10, and Messidor was going to be the guy that went to the Bucs at 15. He was someone that I talked about quite a bit on the podcast going into the draft as an ideal piece, just someone that is very similar to Thule, where he's an exceptional edge rusher, but he's also incredibly powerful as an interior rusher. So it's almost like he gives you some of that juice that Morgan Fox gave him a couple years ago, while also being an effect. I mean, he's one of the best looking edge rushers that we saw in the draft. He's got bend, he's got power, he's got counters, he's really violent with his hands. I got a chance to hang out with him a little bit on Saturday. They flew him out for the big party they had at the Bolt that they kind of had me host and do some interviews with some of the guys. And, there's certain dudes that look, all football players are kind of freaks, but there's some that when you just kind of stand next to them, you're like, holy cow, this guy's really put together. And that's the vibe you get when you're standing next to Messidor. I mean, he looks like he's going to be he's one of the first guys that you'd want getting off the bus when you're rolling into a stadium.
Matt Money Smith joining us today. He's the play-by-play voice of the Chargers. Now, Matt, you look at what the Chargers have done the last couple of years under Jim Harbaugh, and I love the fact that he brings in a bunch of former Chargers, like Nick Hardwick was an assistant on the offensive line last year, and now you bring in Mike McDaniels, who I think is just such a home run hire as an offensive coordinator. I'll tell you, my favorite moment of the draft was when he said, I'll take my shirt off if you go off and get this guy. And they did, and they listened to him. But I think Mike McDaniel has potential to really unlock something in Justin Herbert. How excited are folks up there about what he's bringing to the table this year?
Yeah, incredibly. And I think they'd be even more excited if they weren't so hyper-focused on a left guard and just losing their minds over who's going to play left guard, of which I repeatedly have to point out to them, like, hey, I get it. Justin got his head caved in last year, but it was an offensive coordinator that routinely had him taking 7-step drops. It was nothing but play action. There was no quick game, no easy buttons. Their tackles were gone. They were on their 6th and 7th. Like, it's so different this year, and I just want so many Charger fans to focus. If you just put a single focus on the fact that Mike McDaniel is going to be calling plays this year, arguably the best play calling offensive coordinator. McVay's a head coach, Shanahan's a head coach, LaFleur's a head coach. A lot of these guys are head coaches that call plays. Andy Reid, as just an OC, he's the best in the league. That's who they hired. And a guy that can take Tua to 5,000, yards in a season, 5,000 passing yards in a season and almost 40 touchdowns. I'm anxious to see what he can do with Justin Herbert. That is the number one move of the offseason beyond any player they re-signed or any free agent they signed or any player they picked in the draft.
McDaniel gets all the headlines with Jesse Minter moving on, Chris O'Leary now the defensive coordinator for LA. What do you think he brings to the table? Like, how much of a loss do you think Jesse Minter is on that side of the ball?
Huge. Jesse is a huge loss. And I think that's why he had an interview scheduled with every single head coach opening team in the league. And why he landed arguably the most coveted, an opening with Lamar Jackson as your quarterback and a ready-made roster to win a division and make a run at a Super Bowl. He's incredible. He's sensational. You look at what he did with those 5th-round draft picks, with no salary cap to spend, and they're trying to figure out how to extract value when you don't have a lot of money to put into free agency. And he turns Poona Ford into a $30 million a year, $30 million contract player. Tier Tart into a $30 million contract player. What he was able to do in the ascension of Thule in years 2 and 3. Deion Henley, who couldn't find the field with Brandon Staley and turned into a Pro Bowler with Jesse. Like, he is as good of a defensive coach as there is in the league, period. So the loss is going to be huge. I really like that they brought in Chris O'Leary. I thought even in just his single season in the NFL, Jesse brought him in and Coach Harbaugh brought him in to coach safeties. And you think about what his vision was for Derwin and how he got Derwin back to being one of the best, not just safeties, but defensive players in the league with how he decided to deploy him in that dime back or nickel back, safety hybrid role. And then Elijah Molden, who they traded for at the start of August. And by the first week of September was their starting, free safety and looked like he, never missed a beat and had been with the team the entire offseason. So I think he acquitted himself so well. And then going to Western Michigan and taking that team from, I think, 115th in the nation to top 20 in the nation in defense kind of tells you that, maybe they found some special sauce with this young guy as well.
Matt Money Smith joining us today here on San Diego Sports 760. Matt, you look at the wide receiver room, and I got to be honest, I thought going into this offseason, the Chargers would be the name that we see in conversations with every wide receiver that gets out there. Mike Evans ends up going to the 49ers. Nothing's really happened yet. They drafted Brennan Thompson. That was the guy who Mike McDaniel said he would take his shirt off for. But Ladd McConkey, Quentin Johnston, has that room gotten any more exciting for you? It still feels like it lacks a 1 to me.
I think Ladd's a 1. I do, especially in Mike McDaniel's offense. Just how good he is at creating space and how good at Ladd is. If he's got a little bit of space, you see so often when Ladd catches the ball, if he's got 6 inches, he's whipping out of that thing and he's dusting a corner. He's legit 4.3, high 4.3, low 4.4 speed. And I think Trey Harris earned, one of those 3 spots. I won't be surprised if he's the 2. He is, he immediately became the Chargers' best blocking wide receiver last year. He's got as sure a hands as anybody on the team. Anything Justin threw at him, no matter what traffic he was in, what the consequences of the down were, like nothing seemed to get to him. So I think he's in line for a big jump without Keenan on the team. And Q, I think, will finally we'll get to a role that fits him best. He was just a lot of quick hitters and a ton of yak at TCU. And I think by default, because of his size, because of his athleticism, because of his length, he's been put at this just kind of their vertical receiver, their X receiver. And that's not really what he's best at. Now he's gotten really good at it the last 2 years. I think he's ascended from year 1 to year 2, and then again took a jump from year 2 to year 3. So I think when you're like, I could see Ladd, put it this way, if I'm in a fantasy league and you're picking at the back end of that first round on a snake coming back, I want Ladd with one of those 2 picks. I don't think there's any chance, as long as he stays healthy, that he gets out of this season less than 1,200 yards, less than 8 touchdowns. I think he's going to put up wide receiver 1 type numbers. And then in Brennan Thompson, I think there's a reason why Mike McDaniel said he wanted to take his shirt off. You can get it, man. Go get this guy. And he was so emphatic that this is what he wanted. Because like I said, he creates space. And if you watch Brennan Thompson at Mississippi State, man, you give him an inch. If you want to get him a cushion, he's going to close that distance in a hurry, and that corner's freaking the heck out. And if you give him an inch, he's gone. He gets the top speed so fast. And I think with the way Mike McDaniel kind of coaches his wide receivers, all that eye candy, all that motion, the ability to find space for him, I think this is going to be a really good room. I'll be honest, I'm pretty excited about it. I think it's one of the stronger rooms. Even though it's me projecting, a lot of what Trey Harris can be in year 2.
When we look at Justin Herbert, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson's got crushed a lot for not winning in the postseason. And even though Herbert's 0-3, I don't necessarily think a lot of that has been on him. His tackles weren't there last year. Receiver room a couple years ago was banged up. But how much pressure do you see on Herbert specifically going into this season?
Oh, I think a ton. I think an absolute ton of pressure. If, like I said, if Mike McDaniel can help coach up, just kind of pick your quarterback that he's been with at all of his stops, with Kyle Shanahan, the Falcons to the Super Bowl with Matt Ryan, and the 49ers to the Super Bowl with Jimmy Garoppolo, and Tua to a 5,000 yard season, and now he's got a quarterback talent with physical traits that far surpass anything any of those individuals possessed. So he's someone that's shown he can do it. And I think if you have he's got to have a healthy line in front of him. I think it was clear, in those last 2 playoff games that it was very hard for him to operate, whether it was the play calling or the line in front of him or the inability for receivers to get open outside of Ladd in that Houston game, the drops, the ball tipped in the air for an interception from Will Dissly, the drop that would have been a touchdown on their first possession by Will Dissly. Like, there were certainly limitations there, but if we're projecting that those are all going to go away because health is going to be okay, then yeah, I do think there's pressure on them. I think they got to win a play. I think if they make it through this season again with 11, plus wins, and the team is healthy going into the postseason, then yeah, I think there's going to be pressure on him to win a playoff game, or that narrative's really going to start to stick.
Matt Money Smith, one of the best doing it. Petros and Money, 3 to 7 weekdays up on AM 570. And I'll say that confidently this time. I don't know what was going on in my head before. Matt Money Smith, you're the best, man. Thank you for your time.
You got it. Appreciate it, Sammy. Appreciate it, Ben. Be good, man.
All right, we'll talk to you soon. Matt Money Smith joining us there. Motley Crue tickets coming up very, very soon. In fact, we got this text from the 484 that says, Motley Crue, heck yeah. Do you think you can get Tommy Lee to christen my boat by honking the horn on its inaugural voyage into the bay with his? And we'll leave it right there. You can fill in the rest.
Shout out to Tommy Lee.
Tommy Lee was blessed by a greater power than all of us. Those tickets are coming up in just a little bit. Not right now.
The phone lines lit up. They got excited, but it's in a little bit. It's not right now. In a little bit. We do have long shots coming up next, which some might say is even more valuable than Motley Crue tickets. Long shots next. San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app.
San Diego Sports 760. Ben Fletcher, Sammy Long with you till 2. Sammy will keep it going from 2 to 3. Schaefer and Sliwa will be your drive home. We got Lakers Rockets game 5 tomorrow night, right? Tomorrow night, right here on San Diego Sports 760. Pre-game coverage will get going at 6:45. Tip off just after 7 o'clock. Text from the 858, and I will do some editing here on the fly. Please calm down. It's still the Chokers. Every year, you and the so-called experts have a lot of excitement for these jokes. Then what happens? Choke City. Yeah, they are the Chargers. I'm fine making fun of the Chargers. I am excited about the team. Not that I care about the Chargers or I'm a fan of the Chargers.
Ben picks an AFC West team that's not named the Chiefs to get excited about every year.
This year, it's the Chargers.
It was the Raiders for the last couple of years, and he realized that you have to, betting on the Raiders doesn't usually pay dividends.
Yeah, but now too many other people are excited about the Raiders, so I'm like, let's back off.
So then you move on to another team that historically does not come through when they have expectations.
Yeah, but they've never had Mike McDaniels before. You're telling me like this isn't? No, I think this is one of the best Charger teams in the last 10 years.
This is my opinion on the Chargers. In all honesty, I think the offense will be one of the best in the NFL.
I think so too.
100%.
I think Justin Herbert MVP watch should probably start now.
I agree. I think you have, Amarian Hampton from last year. You get the tackles back. Matt Smith said it.
They have the running back who used to be in Baltimore, super fast, had a bad injury in Baltimore. Keaton Mitchell. Keaton Mitchell.
Right. They got a couple good change of pace backs. You do worry about the interior of the offensive line. I wouldn't go. I know Matt Money Smith's excited about Lab McConkey. They have some complimentary pieces at the receiver spot.
I disagreed with him about the receiver room.
My thing with the Chargers is this. If I was a Charger fan, which I am not, but if I was a Charger fan, I would be disappointed that you didn't get a number 1 star receiver when AJ Brown, multiple guys, of Tyreek Hill still out there. Like there's some guys available.
Theoretically, they could still get AJ Brown. They could still get George Pickens.
The biggest question for the Chargers is if the defense becomes old too fast, because Derwin, Mack, like all these guys have been kind of getting up there in age, and Minter covered up a lot of that. We'll see if the influx of young talent in Messler can get it done in a packed AFC West.
Jay Silv says, Chargers, I'm disappointed. Ben, start taking the curse into account. Yes, they are cursed, which is why yesterday when Sammy asked me if I thought they were Super Bowl contenders, I said no, because they're cursed. Sammy, let's get to long shots. 2 out of 3 has been the curse of the last 2 days.
You know what's crazy is when you lose a bet by 2 points.
I know. And OKC really did hose us last night. And let's talk about who's going to hose us tonight. Nobody. Sammy, smash.
You looking for some luck? Want to win big? Gotta play big.
You are so money and you don't even know it.
Time to take a chance
Say that to me and his man.
with long shots.
All right, Shammy. All right. People are upset that we haven't given away Motley Crue tickets yet.
Yeah, people are very excited for the Crew, understandably.
Hour 2. That's coming up next.
Understandably. Keep listening. Guys, we're giving away Crew tickets.
We got Kevin Acee in hour 2, Motley Crue tickets in hour 2. Just
one of those is a lot more exciting than the other. I'm going to let you guess which one that is.
Kevin Acee. Where are we going, Sammy?
All right. All right. We're going to go NBA and NHL. We're going to start with the NHL tonight. Woo-hoo! Now, Connor McDavid, the Anaheim Ducks.
Isn't he out?
Day to day. We don't know if he's going to play tonight.
See that hockey knowledge right there? I am on
Shout out to you.
Top of it.
Now, credit to the Anaheim Ducks. As a LA Kings fan myself, who just got swept by the Colorado Avalanche, I didn't think the Ducks had any chance in this series. And yet they are here, up 3-1, just beat them in overtime in the last game. And the problem with Edmonton is it's the same story every year. They literally are the Buffalo Bills of the NHL. They have one of the best players in the world in Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl. They double up shifts at the end of games, and for most teams, their scoring is too much. But when the goaltending steps up and the playoffs come around, they have not been able to get a goaltender. Stuart Skinner is now a Pittsburgh Penguin. They have been kind of cycling through goaltenders left and right. They have Tristan Jarry right now, who has not had the best series. Dostal, who was actually a goalie for the Goals for a little while, the San Diego Goals, then got pulled up to the Anaheim Ducks, has been fantastic in net. But tonight, Connor McDavid is day-to-day. I do think Edmonton wins. I think they stay alive tonight in Edmonton. What's going to happen, I think the Ducks are going to come out and try to get this thing. But if it doesn't go their way early, I think it's all about Game 6 back here in Anaheim in a couple days. I've seen this too many times. I know Connor McDavid's day-to-day. Draisaitl is just as talented of a player as Connor McDavid. He can take over this game. And the Ducks haven't been in a closeout spot in years. I think the Edmonton Oilers get it done tonight. They are favored, adding into the parlay, minus 162 on the money line.
If the Edmonton Oilers want to win, invite Kate back out to their games. You remember Oilers girl Kate?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
If anyone doesn't remember, Google it.
All right. Going to the NBA tonight.
By yourself, please.
We have first of 3 games, 76ers and Celtics. Boston is a 10.5 point favorite in this game. Now, everyone thought, so when they stole game 2, when the Phillies stole game 2, you thought, hey, maybe this could be a series because Joel Embiid came back for game 4. The problem with Joel Embiid is he slowed the entire offense down. Joel Embiid got his stacks. Joel Embiid had 26 points on the night, except the problem is BJ Edgecombe had 6, completely slowed down the pace of play. The only success that the Philadelphia 76ers have had in this series is when Edgecombe, Oubre, and Maxey get out and run Boston and do not let them set up in their half-court defense. It's too much on the fly tonight to be adjusting, Embiid back in this lineup. Sixers have had so many injuries this season. I do think Boston wins. Let's take them minus 10.5. I think this is a close game at halftime. Boston pulls away late in Boston. I don't see Philly having enough here to keep this thing close because they don't know how to run an offense with Joel Embiid a part of it. All right, let's go to the Knicks and the Hawks. Series tied 2-2, heading back to Madison Square Garden. I'm going to go more than 213.5 points in this game. Karl-Anthony Towns, they finally figured out how to run the offense. The problem early in the series, they've been running the offense through Jalen Brunson. Jalen Brunson has had a brutal series so far. In his last game, he went 7 for 18. And credit to Quinn Snyder and the coaching staff of Atlanta for attacking Jalen Brunson for this entire series. Though I do think in this game, you find out the offense. They held the Hawks to 98 points last time. The Hawks will have a better offensive showing. They have too many talented wing scorers in Nickeil Alexander-Walker, Jalen Johnson, Onyeka Okongwu down low, and Dyson Daniels. I believe that they have a better offensive output. And the Knicks found something that if you run this thing through Karl-Anthony Towns and not Jalen Brunson, they can score a lot of points. I like the over 213.5 at the Garden tonight. So over 213.5 at the Garden. I like Boston covering the spread minus 10.5, and I do like the Edmonton Oilers to win tonight and to stay alive. Send it back to Anaheim for Game 6.
I like it. I like it a lot. Sammy, read the text line, but don't read it out loud because that's hysterical stuff. Good work, 858. You made me spit on my coffee in the middle of a segment. Appreciate that greatly. All right, it's San Diego Sports 760.
We got Charger fans invading the text line.
Hour number 2 is coming up next. In hour number 2, you will hear from Kevin Acee, our Padres insider. We'll get an update, hopefully, on Manny Machado's leg, as well as what went down at Petco Park last night. We also have Motley Crue tickets to give away in hour number 2. Stay tuned for those. It's San Diego Sports 760. You're listening live on the iHeartRadio app.
The sport sponsored by Unbound.org. Padres back tonight, taking on the Chicago Cubs at 6:40. Cabrera will be going for Chicago, while Walker Buehler will get the ball for the Pods. And the Ravens signed undrafted quarterback Diego Pavia, who was the Heisman runner-up yesterday, to a 3-year contract before minicamp. And the Steelers put the seldom used unrestricted free agent tender on Aaron Rodgers to potentially come back to Pittsburgh. Right now, there are young people across the world facing a tough choice: continue their dream of education or drop out to help their family put food on the table. You can help change their future in a single moment. See how far your support can go at Unbound.org.
We will start from the beginning.
Ladies and gentlemen,
I'm Ben Fletcher. That's Sammy Long.
that's how it starts.
Guess what?
On the ground right side, Cronenworth will get a second for one on to first. It's late, one will score. So that ends the scoreless streak for Mason Miller.
You see, he's not a machine. He's a man.
Bottom line is
9-7 Padres victory as they take game 1 of the series.
the series with the Cubs continues tonight at Petco. Aztecs basketball adds a real pro. No, I mean a real pro from Croatia. We'll talk about the move. Plus,
I want winners.
Over 223.5, Denver and Minnesota.
My boy, Blue.
I like Oklahoma City for a beatdown, minus 10.5 tonight.
The hype is over.
I got the Magic plus 3.5 at home. Get it done against Detroit.
Well done, sir.
Who do you think you are? I am.
now from the San Diego Sports 760 studios, we get in the zone with Fletch and Sammy.
San Diego Sports 760. It's hour number 2 here on 760. Ben Fletcher, Sammy Long with you till 2 o'clock. Sammy will take over for another hour after that. Take you up to Schaefer and Sliwa, our afternoon drive show. Tomorrow night, we will have the next matchup between the Los Angeles Lakers and the Houston Rockets here on your home for Lakers basketball in San Diego. San Diego Sports 760. We'll get to some of these texts in a second. I did want to point out just something that kind of went under the radar in yesterday's Padres game, because yesterday's Padres game had a dramatic finish, right? 9th inning, Mason Miller blows his scoreless streak. He's now back to just being a normal human, I guess, and not the superhero, godlike figure that had been striking everybody out throughout the entire year. And it came on a weird play where it was a dribbling baseball down the third baseline that Ty France definitely got out of bounds, but the umpire called it in fair play. So whatever it is was whatever it is. But the kind of underrated thing that happened last night is Manny Machado's been hitting amazing. 2 home runs in Mexico City. Comes back yesterday with the Padres. He's in Petco Park, has a couple of doubles, is hitting the ball right on the screws. I was listening on the TV broadcast last night, and Tony Gwynn Jr. was talking about how his swing is back to where it should be. And he's really getting through the zone all the way through the pitch. And when he's driving the ball out to left center, that's when Manny's at his best. Manny leaves yesterday's game with an apparent leg injury. Craig Stammen says afterwards, yeah, everything's fine. We took him out for precautionary reasons. It's the Padres. Anytime anyone says something about precautionary reasons, you start to get a little nervous. So I'm fascinated to see whether or not he's in the lineup today. It did look like he kind of tweaked his leg when he slid into second base. The second time, he was a little bit slower running out of the box. Hopefully Manny's okay, but wouldn't that just be so Padres if Manny Machado's finally starting to hit the ball good again, and then all of a sudden he's dealing with a leg injury?
Yeah, it does. It's a bummer, because it was nice seeing last night him going 3 for 4, because again, it's one thing to do it in Mexico City, but it's another thing to do it at home in Petco Park. And the bats were flying out as the night went on. And we all know if you're playing baseball in San Diego or Los Angeles, fewer home runs are hit later on as the night goes on because of the dampness as the marine layer moves in. So it was cool seeing Manny Machado get it going. It would be a real shame if he's hurt for a little while. Kind of just puts more pressure on Fernando Tatis if Manny Machado is out for the foreseeable future. Again, we're assuming that the Padres are being truthful. It's hard to take them with a grain of salt, because they did this with Yu Darvish. They've done this with Nick Pivetta. They've done this with Joe Musgrove. Done this with basically every player that they've ever had. But yeah, we'll see what happens with that. But it would be a real shame, because now the Padres have gotten to this point basically with Machado, Merrill, and Tatis being non-factors. So I guess you could look at it as the Padres are probably in pretty good shapes to keep it up. But you don't want to be sustaining injuries right now when you're neck and neck with the Dodgers in the NL West race.
Absolutely. And I mean, Fernando, the number's grown to 29 consecutive games. And it's a bad thing if we're counting how many games it's been since Fernando Tatis Jr. has hit a home run. And again, he had 2 hits last night, had an RBI. It's like Fernando's playing okay baseball and he's getting hits, but he's not the power hitter that we're used to seeing and need to be seeing. All right, we got Motley Crue tickets coming up in just a little bit, so stay tuned for those. I did want to mention there are now 2 managers in Major League Baseball who have been fired. The Phillies fired their manager, Thompson. Cora got fired earlier this year with the Red Sox. These are 2 of the teams who are in the top 10 of Major League Baseball spending. These are 2 teams who have had wildly disappointing starts to the season. I mean, Phillies and Red Sox are both kind of loaded. They're both teams you sort of had penned into the postseason before the season even began.
The Phillies feel like they've gotten to a point where every year people fall in love with picking the Phillies to win the World Series because on paper you have Turner and Harper and Schwarber. I mean, they have a great 1 through 9. And then over the years, they had Ranger Suarez left, but Christopher Sanchez, Jesus Luzardo's not having a good season. I mean, the Phillies, it's kind of unexplainable why they haven't had more postseason success over the last 6, 7, 8 years that that's kind of core has been together, different pieces in and out of the lineup. Hell, Nick Castellanos was a big piece of that a while ago. And then the Red Sox made no sense. They feel like this year's Baltimore Orioles, where a year ago, Baltimore Orioles with Gunnar Henderson and all the young talent they had were supposed to be that team that broke through. They didn't. And then the Red Sox with Roman Anthony, all these top prospects coming up, they signed Ranger Suarez and then they're flailing. So it is just kind of a broader conversation. Like, just because you spend money doesn't mean you're necessarily a good ball club. And so far this season, albeit in somewhat of a small sample size, the teams that are spending the most money aren't necessarily at the top of the standings.
Yeah, Mets, Phillies, Red Sox, they're all in the top 5 or top 7 at the very least of spending year in and year out.
Outside of the Dodgers and Padres, a lot of these teams aren't juggernauts.
Yeah, you're exactly right. And I don't know if that means the field's a little more open come postseason time, but you look around baseball and there's some new teams who don't spend necessarily nearly as much money who are in the conversation to take over some of these spots. But the nice part about the Phillies, if you're a Phillies fan, like, you had Don Mattingly on your bench. How easy is that? To just bump him up as interim manager. He may be a better option than Thompson to begin with. So I don't know.
I wonder what's the more attractive job.
Probably the Red Sox.
I think so too.
The Red Sox have the younger core. The Phillies have a couple of really old contracts that are going to continue to get worse as they have like Padres contracts.
I mean, two obviously brutal cities if you're not performing, you're going to hear about it. But I would go with the Red Sox unless Roman Anthony looks like a star. But outside of that, unless these guys just don't come up, the Phillies really are unexplainable. I mean, their roster, it doesn't really make a lot of sense why they're losing a bunch of games, but just kind of a shocker there.
Phillies are 9-19. What are the Red Sox at? I have it right here.
The Red Sox pitching has been a disaster.
Red Sox are at 12-17. It's been brutal starts for 2 of the top spending teams in baseball with great rosters, allegedly, but they haven't been great so far this year. Crazy that a month into the season, 2 head coaches that we thought were pretty secure have already been fired. All right, let's get to the big 3 here of hour number 2. I can promise you this: Motley Crue tickets will be given away before you hear from Kevin Acee. How about that? That gives you like a 20-minute window in which these tickets
for 20 minutes
will be won. Sammy, smash.
Your lunch break is here. Ready to go back to the office and knock the socks off your friends? I mean, coworkers? It's time for the top stories of the day. The Big 3.
Sometimes I see headlines that I'm not sure if they're real or fake. Is this real that Paul Skeens rented out a bounce house for Connor Griffin's birthday party?
I have no idea.
I think it's real. Connor Griffin was the 19-year-old who signed that massive contract. So he's 20 now. He just turned 20. And reportedly, Paul Skeens bought a bounce house for the young stud's birthday, which is hilarious. Get Paul Skeens to San Diego, man. All right, Sammy, where are we heading?
All right, so the Rockets are chirping a little bit after winning one game in Game 4. Jabari Smith said today at shoot-around that they are the better team. And then Alperen Şengün took a shot at the Lakers saying they were also the better team and they're younger and can recover faster. Now, both teams looking to get stars back. Kevin Durant possibly returning for Game 5. Austin Reeves could be making his series debut tomorrow night. What star is more important for their team for the rest of the series?
I would say Reeves, but I don't know that that's necessarily true. Like, the way the Lakers are playing, they have a little bit of an edge to them, and I think it's playoff LeBron as part of that. I love the way Marcus Smart's been playing this postseason. So I don't know that that's necessarily true. I am curious if the NBA put down a memo or something to all teams in the league that said, hey, let's bring a little bit of WWE into this year's postseason, because you got the Nuggets series, which has been fantastic, and Jaden McDaniels and Nikola Jokic going back and forth. Julius Randle, it's been crazy. And then over on the Lakers side, all of a sudden, Like KD's talked in this series a little bit, even though he's been out. LeBron hasn't really
He's
talked.
like waiting from the bench when Aiden got. I was like, bro.
Right. But LeBron's been playing with a little bit of that edge that has been missing for a little bit. So I do wonder if there was a little bit of a memo sent down like, hey, we got to bring some excitement and some noise to these early round 7-game series.
Well, I think it's just you over long seasons, you see this in Major League Baseball. Over long seasons, I think can get a little monotonous, and then you go, it's go time, it's for the playoffs, and you see these, guys are trying to win, guys are trying to build legacies for themselves, and so the kind of resentment brews. I'm going to go with Austin Reeves. Not that he's a better player than Kevin Durant, but Kevin Durant, we saw the Lakers beat the Rockets with Kevin Durant in Game 2. Kevin Durant's unbelievable and one of the best one-on-one pure scorers in the game. That doesn't really solve the Rockets' problem. The Rockets' problem is that they don't have a point guard, so they can't initiate offense. Like, what's the twist now for Udoka? Is he going to go back to having KD and Reed Shepherd bring the ball up? Because that certainly did not work out when they were both on the floor in Game 2. Because ideally, if you're the Rockets, you want Shepherd spot up shooting in the corner and Kevin Durant coming off screens and getting into his offense. In regards to Austin Reeves, it's crucial because when LeBron was going out of the game, we saw this bad in Game 4. The Lakers weren't really penalized for it in the first 3 games. When LeBron went off the floor, the Lakers didn't have a ball handler because Kennard, Smart, all these guys aren't traditional point guards. Reeves can distribute the ball and initiate offense for himself. So you're never going to have a situation where LeBron or Reeves isn't on the floor at one time. So in terms of this series, I think Reeves is much more important getting back for the Lakers than KD is for the Rockets. All right.
Who next?
Let's go to the World Cup. So kind of a fun story. This just came down. FIFA made this rule. So you get a red card and are thrown off the pitch for mouth covering ahead of the World Cup. So, example of this, if you're playing and a player goes up to another player on another team, covers their mouth and says something, they see it, you get thrown off immediately.
Lame.
Agreed.
Wait, so you're saying like if you want to go up to someone and talk crap?
So if you and I were playing in a game,
and I went up to you like this,
and you said something to me,
so that no one could lip read,
even if whatever it was, they don't know, you would get sent off out for the game.
Lame. I don't know. Is this common in soccer? Are we doing the covering the mouth thing? I guess we do. I guess they do. And it's like NFL head coaches using the clipboard to cover their mouth when they're giving out signs. It feels communist to me. There, I said it.
I hate this.
Where's the freedom of speech?
We're just talking about in sports. Look at why the NBA has had a lot of success in this postseason. Talking about rivalries. Talking about guys getting chippy with each other and kind of showing that emotion. I mean, like, so this is going to happen. And you're telling me in the World Cup final, because Messi covers his mouth and says something to Mbappe, that Messi's getting sent off? I mean, like, this is kind of crazy. And then you're talking about in World Cup where you have, 3 games to get out of your group, and then it's single elimination. You're going to have a team playing with one less player. I mean, this just feels excessive. It feels like there's a lot of beef between countries and they don't want stuff to pop off.
Good.
But, right, I think that adds something to it. And I think if you're a casual fan who's maybe not a diehard soccer fan who's going to be watching anyway, adding this kind of build up to it, like before the games, is a fun thing. I don't talking crap in sports is a part of it, and it's why some of the best talkers have had success over the years because they get in other teams' heads. I think this is lame from FIFA.
Okay, just do it without covering your mouth. This is dumb. What if he's going up to him and be like, "Hey, I saw that picture your sister posted last night. She's looking fine." Like, what if it's something like that?
You just gotta not cover your mouth. Just say it to their face.
Goodness gracious, man. We're soft. What's next, Sammy? One more.
All right. Going to the draft, Deion Sanders and Bill Belichick both have 0 players drafted in this year's draft.
Dude, it's bad.
Who is this a bigger indictment of?
All right, it's got to be Deion. This was year 1 for Bill Belichick. It's got to be Deion. Year 1 for Bill Belichick, and he's at a traditional non-football school. All resources at the University of North Carolina until about 5 years ago were dedicated to basketball. And then all of a sudden, was it Drake May or was it Daniel Jones? I can't remember. Who was the...
Drake May.
Drake May was the quarterback of North Carolina. All of a sudden, they get a little bit of national buzz. all of a sudden Bill Belichick is the new head coach because in the NIL era, you think Bill Belichick is the name you can attract a bunch of top talent to. But North Carolina, not traditional football school. Dion has been building something at Colorado. Dion had his kid drafted, well, really late, but it was talked about as if he would be a top 11 draft pick. I do think this is the bigger indictment on Dion because he's just more established in college football. Belichick, give him a year, see what happens in the future.
See, I mean, maybe never mind.
Was that going to be a Jordan Hudson joke?
It was, but then I realized I probably shouldn't say that.
No, come on, let it go.
Oh, no, I'm not going to get fired today. No, I'm going to go Bill Belichick. Bill Belichick, Deion Sanders, look, Colorado football was a disaster of a program for many years, and he at least has made it interesting, although they've fallen off the map recently. Shador got drafted. Travis Hunter got drafted. Jimmy Horn Jr. got drafted. Another receiver. They've had some guys.
Right, but how do you have nothing coming in behind them?
Well, I'm not saying you should be proud of it, but if you're Bill Belichick, you are supposed to be the savior. You are the 7-time Super Bowl champion.
But it's year one.
6-time Super Bowl champion with multiple rings as a coordinator. Right, but you're supposed to be this big recruiter. Dion has shown the ability to recruit kids. Dion recruited Travis Hunter. Travis Hunter could have got a scholarship to play anywhere he wanted to in the country. Ohio State, Alabama, whatever big-time school he chose. I don't think Bill Belichick has that kind of luster. And frankly, I don't think that Bill Belichick kids are going to want to play for Bill Belichick. Whereas Dion, I think, has built something in Colorado, and you saw the excitement from the fans. Whereas I don't see this going forward. Bill Belichick is such an afterthought heading into this college football season.
I don't know. I think that Belichick maybe year two might get a little bit better, but we'll see. We could be totally wrong on that. All right, it's San Diego Sports 760. If you want some Motley Crue tickets, you are going to have to wait one more segment. One more commercial break. Motley Crue tickets will be given out on the other side. Plus, we will get you ready for what's coming up tonight in the NBA. Playoffs continue on the other side at San Diego Sports 760. You're listening live on the iHeartRadio app. San Diego Sports 760, Ben Fletcher, Sammy Long with you till 2 o'clock. Kevin Acee coming up in 8 or 9 minutes. Motley Crue tickets coming up in 4 or 5 minutes. Do not go anywhere. I believe it was Jamar on YouTube. This was a couple weeks ago, probably, that recommended the show Paradise on Hulu.
It's fantastic.
What a show.
You're late to the party with Paradise.
I'm 3 episodes in. It is fantastic. Sterling K. Brown, I think that's his name.
Yeah.
That dude is a stud, and he's a really good actor. I really, really am enjoying the show. Kind of flipping everything you think you know about reality.
Your wife was excited to watch the show, right?
Yeah, Sterling K. Brown's a hottie. I believe Sammy called him an absolute unit, and I saw his butt cheeks in this last episode, and I was like, oh, that's what Sammy was talking about.
I was watching a great show. Paradise is a fantastic show.
I'm really into it. I don't know what direction it's going. I have no idea what's going on in it yet. But I feel like they're setting up a lot of different things. There's a big murder in the first episode, and then they're setting up all the different ways.
That's what I like about it is it's not predictable.
Who's a good guy? Who's a bad guy? I don't know.
I was watching a little Euphoria last night.
New episode?
Yeah.
Things get crazy. Things get crazy.
Whoa.
Nate's getting tracked down, man. Things are going bad.
See, I like the show a lot. It's just my problem with it is everyone in the show has every single problem you could ever imagine. I'm like, can we check some of these off? Like we can't be dealing with this many battles on this many fronts.
It is. I was talking to a buddy about Euphoria last night, and it was like the first 2 seasons. It was just high school fever dream craziness. Like what you're talking about. Every problem you could possibly have are all happening all at the same time. This season feels to me like almost a season of 24 without Jack Bauer.
That's kind of funny.
Like there's crazy drug trades going on. There's insane kidnappings. There's all sorts of, there's a Russian mob boss who's like mad at one of the guys. It's all just chaos, and there's no Jack Bauer to solve problems.
You know what else I've been watching is No Friends and Neighbors, or what's that? The one John Hamm one?
Oh yeah, on Apple TV. Travis Dale loves that show.
Great show. Apple TV, they just released a Ted Lasso trailer, season 4.
I know. I'm so excited.
Lori on YouTube saying, I love Paradise. Can't wait for next season. Yes.
I am enthralled. 3 episodes in. I think it's fantastic. So if you want any recommendation on that, there it is. All right. Tonight in the NBA, 4 o'clock, 76ers, Celtics. Celtics up on that series 3-1. Hawks, Knicks, lots of intrigue there. 2-2 series. Trailblazers, Spurs. Wemby cleared. Wemby back. Wemby don't like concussion protocol, but Wemby is back. Maybe that series finishes up tonight with the Spurs handling business even when he wasn't on the court. It does feel like that series is dead. Do the 76ers have anything for the Celtics tonight? Sammy Long, my NBA expert.
I don't. I've been high on the Sixers a lot this season. They're kind of a lot like the Edmonton Oilers. They're a lot like the Buffalo Bills. They on paper are a very talented team, but they get to the playoffs every year.
Joel Embiid over-unders at 1.5 series end tonight. Are you taking the over?
Oh, over. I think Boston wins, and I think San Antonio wins. I think we're seeing a little bit of a changing of the guard in the NBA. I think we're going to see a lot of player movement in this offseason because guys like Joel Embiid, guys like Kevin Durant, guys like James Harden, some of these aging veterans who have been stars in the league for a long time. I think we're starting to see at what point can you not win with Joel Embiid? At what point can you not win with Kevin Durant? I think we're starting to see some of these teams.
His appendix decided a couple weeks ago he cannot win with Joel Embiid.
I mean, his
appendix wanted out.
You feel bad for Joel Embiid because it's not even a talent thing or a dedication thing. It's he can't stay on the court. And I think we're going to see a lot of player movement because some of these veterans that have been stars over the years, I just think are not panning out, as evidenced with James Harden right now, who that series looked like it was locked up, and all of a sudden the Raptors are back in it. Feels like we're going to see a kind of an aging out of some of these stars with an influx of young talent in the NBA, especially with how many first-round draft picks there's going to be in the NBA draft with talent.
Lots of text today that we cannot read, but this one's pretty funny that we can, stemming from our conversation with Matt Money Smith earlier from the 615 that says, well, I think by week 8, Mike McDaniel will have been given an atomic wedgie, shoved in a locker, and doused with shaving cream.
Not a Charger fan.
No, I believe 615 is a Miami Dolphins fan.
619 calling me out. Did you see that 7th Bill Belichick Super Bowl championship ring in your dreams last night, Sammy?
I get that one wrong all the time.
I clarified. I said that was Brady on air.
Had 7. Belichick had 6. I also mess that one up all the time.
Actually, though, he had a couple rings as a coordinator.
That's true. With the Giants? It might only be 1 ring as a coordinator.
Right. He started with the Browns. Obviously didn't win there.
I think he only had 1 ring as a coordinator. I could be wrong on that.
Let me look this up.
And then 484 has a problem with Deion Sanders and Primetime doing ads for adult diapers now, which is very funny. It's so anti Deion Sanders, but he's probably making a bag doing those.
Dude, I would be like Shaq. I would literally have every single endorsements. Bill Belichick has 2 Super Bowl rings as a coordinator.
Very nice. All right. Kevin Acee is next. I promise something. We are delivering something. If you want to do the crew, if you want a pair of tickets to go see Motley Crue out at the North Island Credit Union Amphitheater. Are you dying over there? Was that
I was doing Shout at the Devil. I got excited.
Got it. September 18th, North Island Credit Union Amphitheater. It's Live Nation's Summer of Live. All in $30 tickets to this Motley Crue concert and tons more go on sale tomorrow through May 5th at livenation.com. 877-767-4760. Sammy, what number caller?
We had a lot of callers on this. We're going to go caller number 18.
Caller number 8.
We got to call for a little minute.
Caller number 18. You are going to see Motley Crue out in Chula Vista at San Diego Sports 760. Our Padres insider, Kevin Acee, coming up next live on the iHeartRadio app.
The sport is sponsored by Mothers Against Drunk Driving. Walker Buehler getting the ball tonight for the Pods going up against Cabrera for the Cubs. That game will be at 6:40. Padres look to go up 2-0 in this series after a 9-7 win last night. In the NBA, we got two potential closeout opportunities. Celtics at home versus the 76ers, and the Spurs at home against Portland, looking to close out those series. The Hawks and the Knicks tied 2 apiece. That game is at 5 o'clock. The Knicks are 6.5-point favorites at the Garden tonight. For victims of drunk and drug driving, your grief is unique, but you're not alone. You always have a place at MAD. Call the 24-hour victim helpline at 877-MAD-HELP or visit mad.org.
The Padres Report with Kevin Acee is brought to you by Hamul Casino Resort. Hey, players, this is all yours. Hamul Casino Resort, the player's place.
It's San Diego Sports 760. Ben Fletcher, Sammy Long with you till 2 o'clock. Sammy is having a hell of a time back there. 18 callers, maybe too many callers? What are you thinking?
It was fun. I got to talk to all the people.
Sir Will ended up winning those tickets.
Sir Will, our guy, ended up winning.
Regular contributor on YouTube. Sir Will, thank you for being here, brother. We love you, man, and have fun out at Motley Crue. All right, you heard the big voice guy. We got Kevin Acee. He is here and ready to play. Kev, before we do anything about last night's fair or foul or Manny Machado's leg, how was Mexico City? Did you bring back any souvenirs?
I don't think so. No, thankfully, nothing bad happened. So yeah, no, it's great. Yeah, what a vibe. What a vibe in Mexico City.
How weird was the baseball there? Because it's certainly on TV, like the infield looked ridiculously bouncy. The ball was flying out of there. Manny Machado's pop-ups were home runs. So it was just another couple of Mexico City games. I had a hard time calling them full baseball games, but what did you see in person?
Yeah, I mean, that's a good way to put it. It's funny that some of the players that had been there said the infield was better than last time in terms of like it wasn't as bouncy, but it certainly still was, and the dirt was like super hard. I mean, you could tell that by looking at it in person. It was wild. Yeah, it's crazy baseball. Maybe because it's so unique and the atmosphere is so awesome that at least me, I kind of overlook it versus like I love Coors Field and I hate the baseball there. Coors Field is beautiful. And the baseball is what it is. And this baseball is worse, but like the fans that are there, whether they're from Mexico, whether they're from other parts of the United States, whether they're from San Diego, like everybody is just juiced to be there. And like, it's just it's a lot of fun. Everybody kind of gets into the whole Latin moment where you're just singing and, it seems everyone's happy. I don't know. So maybe that's why I'm like, Mexico City's cool. Now, do I want to go there every year? I absolutely do not.
Now, a couple of fans who made the trip, Kev, Jose E. Feliciano and Kwanzaa Jones, the potential new owners. Did you get a chance to catch up with the new bosses over at Petco Park?
I did not talk to them while they were there. They were hustled in and out. And let me tell you, the security around Mexican billionaires in Mexico, including Mexican billionaire Alfredo Harpaloo, and then when you have visiting billionaires, it's quite intense. So just to even get a glimpse of them, I felt like I was risking coming up against a very angry-looking man.
Manny Machado gets hurt last night. Craig Stammen kind of mentions that it's nothing serious. Are you buying this? Because the Padres have certainly not been the most forthcoming when it comes to injuries.
Damn, Sam, stop it. I'm going to scold you right there. There's got to be one time a show I do that. Sam, like every team in every sport ever invented and that became professional or college, which I guess is professional now, yes. Have the Padres not been forthcoming? Yes, that is 100% fact. Do they deserve to be called out like they are? They absolutely do not. So I'm tired of it. All right, Sam?
Kev,
I think it's fair.
If Sammy didn't ask the question, I was going to ask it, Kevin.
Yeah.
The track record is
they
there.
lied to us.
But
No, it's
Craig
not.
Stammen, I think you asked the question last night to Craig Stammen.
Yeah.
And do you have any further update from what Craig Stammen said last night?
No, man, I woke up like 20 minutes ago. So like it is, it was interesting that he was even playing after like grabbing at it the whole time. And as cautious as these guys have been, there's a part of you that goes, okay, I guess this could not be something serious. By the way, Craig Stam has been remarkably forthcoming. So maybe we stop holding like 2015 AJ Preller being suspended against the Padres, or the fact that sometimes they tell us stuff and then it happens differently.
I think we could look at Joe Musgrove this year.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we had like sample size.
They have been 100% from the start. Did they come out and give us their MRIs? No. Do they tell us every conversation they have? No. Do they know when Joe Musgrove's coming back? No. Have they been forthcoming? And like, I'm now coming off like their lawyer, but I'm honestly like, this idea that the Padres are like deceiving us constantly about injuries is bogus, man. It just is. Sam, you're so good. I'll catch you at different times, but like you get into these narratives and you're like talk radio guy. And I just woke up, but Sam, come on.
I got you. I'm standing by it until they prove it different. I mean, I kind of believe it.
They have. See, that's the problem with a narrative or a theory that borders on conspiracy is they'll never prove it to you because you will always have evidence that they, this shows that they're not being forthcoming. So no, you've got to kind of sometimes like a Joe Musgrove injury and a Nick Pivetta injury, you kind of got to take it as it comes. And so either they're going to be like, hey guys, we can't say anything because like we're going to try and help the fans / media out and say some stuff. And then when it's not true, like then it's like put into this bucket where maybe a few times, again, like every team, there have been some times where they haven't been forthcoming, kind of like a little shady or, like coy about it. But like the idea that like, because of that, like we need to look at, like every injury as if they're lying. Now look at every injury as if like, I wonder what is happening. Well, that's the way it comes off, Sam.
I don't think they're lying. I think they don't give us all the information. And we've seen this with Yu Darvish, seen this with Joe Musgrove. And so it's a normal question to ask when Manny Machado gets injured, doesn't look great.
Yes.
And so we'll see when he's back.
Yes, but every time to then throw in because the Padres aren't forthcoming, that I'm sorry if you don't think that then lends a bias to it. I just don't think that's responsible. So now you can say that's cool. I don't want to be responsible. Totally awesome, Sam. Totally respect that. Like because your job is yours and then mine is mine.
And your job is coming up with some badass headlines, Kevin. We could leave the Manny Machado stuff in the background, but sick play by a sick player, Fernando Tatis Jr., that play at second base. We could leave the power stuff to the side. I think it's 29 straight games without a home run for Fernando. But Fernando at second base, I'm starting to really enjoy Kevin Acee. How about you?
Yeah, he's an incredible athlete. There's like, if you didn't have to then say, okay, gosh, how do we fit this guy here and this guy there? You'd be like, I'd love to see Fernando Tatis Jr. in the infield, right? I like if you were able to operate in a vacuum of, man, I wonder if like he goes there and then, he starts throwing himself around the field, especially say like at shortstop, might he get hurt again? If like you could just say, man, I want to put the best player at this position, then like Fernando Tatis Jr. would be your infielder, and that would be shortstop, that would be second base, like whatever. He's an incredible athlete. And the play last night, live, he misplayed it, but he made the play. And the fact is, he misplays balls in right field a fair amount, like too, and then makes the play. Like he is incredible.
That is funny that he took a play that was probably pretty routine for a lot of second basemen around baseball, made it harder on himself, still made the play that almost nobody could make in all of baseball. And that's a very Fernando
and
Tatis
highlight because of it, because he deserves to. Like, it's funny. I'm like saying he misplayed it, like as if like, oh, well, because guess what? It was his fourth start there.
Right.
Like, yeah, okay. And also it was a weird ball. Like these guys judge balls. It's why you saw so many missteps in Mexico. With the ball, way the ball just flew out there, like they judged the ball off the bat, and that was just a weird one to judge.
All right, and then finally we got sidetracked a little bit, rightfully so, with Manny Machado's leg injury. I wonder if he's going to be in the lineup tonight. But Kevin, the Mason Miller stuff streak comes to an end. It's a bummer. The foul ball that wasn't a foul ball, Major League Baseball can't review it for some ungodly reason. But what do you? not the impact that's going to have over time, but I guess what was it like live there last night watching something crumble like that?
Yeah, it's funny, like because of the belief in Mason Miller and a part of that closer makeup, right? Like not only does he have the stuff, like I don't know, I guess I had, and this doesn't mean anything, right? Like what my confidence level or what anyone's confidence level, it still could have gone terribly awry, like as in lost the lead. But like I was like, okay, well, I mean, still could strike a guy out. Still could at one point, still could get a double play as he has before just a few days ago. Like gosh, Mason Miller is just that good. Where that was sort of the thought.
Kevin.
Oh, Kevin got mad at Sammy, so Sammy dumped him off the radio.
No.
We're wrapping things up with Kev anyways, and his phone might have just cut off. So Sammy, go ahead and play the outro for Mr. Kevin Acee.
I swear I didn't kick him off the radio.
All right, bye, Kevin. We love you.
But it would look like that. Very defensive when it comes to asking a question about the Padres.
Yeah, I don't think it was outrageous at all. Good work, Sammy. And text line all has your back.
You know what?
I love Kevin to death. I would side with Sammy Long on this one.
We're the investigative reporters on this show.
Yeah, let's put on some sunglasses, go full paradise mode, and try to uncover this conspiracy.
I was gonna ask next when Lucas Giolito was gonna come up, but
yeah, I'm curious about that too. I saw some stuff today. Lucas Giolito and Ty France, I believe, have a pretty huge history together. So maybe that's pretty cool that they are going to be playing on the same team now. All right, that was Kevin Acee. That was our Padres insider. I enjoyed that a lot. Playing kind of sitting out in center field while Sammy and Kevin went head to head.
I love having Kevin on, man. It's always a good time.
913 Sammy, the listener, stand by you. 913 Kevin, stop calling him Sam. He's Sammy. Yeah, Jay Silves has your back too. All right.
Listen, I try to get answers for the listening public,
and Sammy hung up on him and destroyed his phone from this side. Can you believe that?
No.
All right, it's San Diego Sports 760. Congrats to Sir Will, who won those Motley Crew tickets.
Going to Crew.
More coming up tomorrow. If you would like to do the Crew with Sir Will, we'll wrap this thing up. Get you ready for going long. Coming up next, it's San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app. San Diego Sports 760, Ben Fletcher, Sammy Long for a final time. Our boy Sir Will winning those tickets for Motley Crue. If you would like to win a pair of tickets, you can get them tomorrow. Kevin has texted, accused Sammy of hanging up on him, which was very funny.
Which is categorically false.
That was like the perfect time for the phone call to drop. But Kevin said, I wanted to say at the end of that how Manny rarely goes on the injured reserve and rarely goes on IL, but I too question the severity of this injury and how careful they will be. So there you go.
Yeah. No. There's no beef.
There's no
just
beef.
Responding. All I was saying with my question was, I don't think the Padres are intentionally lying to people. I think that they give vague details. By the way, one of my favorite teams, Kansas City Chiefs, do this all the time.
Well, every team in every sport does this to a certain extent. I think it's what's the phrase? I'm gonna butcher it, but correlation causes causation. Whatever that is. Like, it does seem to happen with the Padres more than any other organization. Maybe that's because we follow the Padres on a daily basis. Maybe that's because they've had really bad luck the last few off seasons with pitchers. But it does seem that a lot of things that come out of that organization in official press releases or in manager post-game comments. By the way, Craig Stammen probably handled that perfectly last night. But the joke, and not really a joke because it happens so often, is that a lot of times bad things happen to this organization, right, and they downplay
the text line's calling it out. We've seen it recently in that I think why people are a little, when we see Padres injuries, get a little anxious because we saw this with Yu Darvish. We saw them. We remember that playing out in real time. We thought
go back further. Clevenger, Dinelson Lamet, like this happens.
I mean,
all the time.
And again, this season, Joe Musgrove, I wish nothing but the best for Joe Musgrove. I need Joe Musgrove to return when Joe Musgrove feels comfortable returning so he doesn't have another severe injury. But they kind of drug us along with the Yu Darvish news. They drug us along so far with the Joe Musgrove news. That's completely went quiet. I mean, Coach Quintero was on our show last week talking about Nick Pivetta, how this was his own personal opinion. He doesn't think he's coming back this season. Right. Now, we'll see if that happens. Hopefully that's not the case and he comes back. But it's perfectly understandable for a lot of people in San Diego to be concerned when the star player gets hurt, and the Padres have not always, I'll stand by it, been the most forthcoming when it comes to injuries.
I think the crappy part is like Manny's swing looks like it's getting back into form. Right. And you kind of feel like he's about to go on one of those tears that Manny Machado regularly goes on, where even if he's bad for a little bit, he all of a sudden pops up and has a 2-home run game out in Mexico City. Last night is hitting balls off the wall. Like, is starting to really get back to that mode where he's driving the field out to left center or driving the ball out to left center. And then something like this happens. So that's a bummer. And hopefully he's back in the lineup today. And this can all be a funny time after the fact. But we will see, right? Sir Will has a very funny comment on YouTube. Says Manny Machado taught Acee how to react to questions like Sammy's. It was a little Manny Machado-esque out of Kev. But we love Kevin. There's no beef here. Kevin's going to be back with us next Tuesday.
There's no beef. There's no problem at all. He has the right to an opinion. I got a right to my opinion.
Sports radio, arguing's half the fun in it.
Yeah,
in fact, we don't argue enough. Sammy, you're stupid. How about that?
No. We got to find something that's like, it comes when football season when I start pointing out Josh Allen facts, and then you defend your boy. But
love me some Josh Allen. I hope your long shots wins tonight so I can put some money on him and Brock Purdy to win MVP this year.
Really?
No, not Josh Allen. I actually think Justin Herbert and Brock Purdy have the best two chances.
You see, when it comes to NFL MVP, this is why. Okay, I'll give you a little credit.
What?
I rip Brock Purdy a lot, but you want to find guys who have never won before.
Oh, see, now he's going to do this backhanded compliment thing where he's like, and honestly, like Brock Purdy, if he puts up the numbers this year, they won 12 games last year.
No. This is not even a shot. You want to find someone that's the next it, because in every league, which is in the NBA, Major League Baseball, and in NFL, you get voter fatigue. So guys like Allen, Mahomes, Lamar, who have won before, you're looking at a Justin Herbert, a Caleb Williams, a Brock Purdy. You want guys you won't have voter fatigue.
All right, last text before we get out of here. 619. You may not know how many Super Bowls Bill Belichick won as a head coach, but right on, Sammy, about calling out the Padres injury BS.
Thank you.
Look, it's only a thing because it's a thing, right? And I think fans are sick of it. I'm sick of it. Sammy's clearly sick of it. And it's a thing if it's a thing. And it is a thing with the San Diego Padres. They play tonight. Walker Buehler's going to be on the mound. Who's pitching for the Cubbies, Sammy?
Cabrera.
And this is part of the Cubs kind of having some injury woes rotation-wise at the beginning
the starting
of the year, too.
rotation's fine, but as we saw last night, when they get to their bullpen, the Padres have a massive advantage. So keep this thing close. Padres take advantage of the bullpen late, hopefully going for a 2-0 series lead.
Padres are plus money at home if that is something you would like to take advantage of.
Little Calci vibes?
A little Calci vibes. I think they were plus 100 last I looked at home tonight at Petco Park. Walker Buehler on the mound. Hopefully things go well here. Randy Vasquez had a little bit of a blow up last night. Cubs have an awesome lineup. We'll see how Walker Buehler can hang. You would like, because you had Morejon and Adams go both more than an inning last night. So maybe the A team's not really available. Mason Miller threw a lot of pitches as well for the bullpen. So hopefully Walker Buehler gets you some good innings here tonight. All right, San Diego Sports 760. You got an hour of Sammy. If everyone would like to continue the text line, I'm sure Sammy would love that. 70470. Start your message with team. We'll leave the YouTube stream active on at San Diego Sports 760. More Motley Crue tickets tomorrow. I will see you tomorrow. San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app.
This report is sponsored by Mothers Against Drunk Driving. Padres and Cubs are getting ready for game 2 of their series tonight down at Petco Park. It's going to be Edward Cabrera going for the Cubs and Walker Buehler on the hill for the Padres. First pitch, as always, is set for 6:40. The Phillies were off to their worst start in over 2 decades, and today they decided it's time for a change, and they fired manager Rob Thompson. They had a 9-19 record so far this season, and apparently they tried to hire former Red Sox manager Joey Cora. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. In NBA news, we got 3 more first-round playoff games tonight. The Celtics are going to try and close out the 76ers at 4 o'clock. Atlanta and New York start at 5 o'clock. They're tied at 2-2. And Spurs and Trailblazers are at 6:30. They're also tied at 2 apiece. For victims of drunk and drug driving, your grief is unique, but you are not alone. You'll always have a place at MAD. Call the 24-hour victim helpline at 877-MAD-HELP or visit mad.org.
Going long with Sammy.
That's going to be hot.
In depth on the story of the day. Plus, it's warm in the hot seat. Now, it's Sammy Long.
San Diego, what is going on? Welcome back to Going Long, San Diego Sports 760, live on the iHeartRadio app. Lots to get into today. So we got Chino Iglesias jumping on at 2:30 with me, usually coming on Mondays, but was out yesterday, so we'll be jumping on today. Going to get into some good stuff with him. Coming up in a little bit, we'll get to Aaron Rodgers as well, and possibly going back to the Pittsburgh Steelers. And there's some interesting quotes coming out of the NBA. But first, we should start with the Padres. I mean, Padres, very eventful night last night down at Petco for a multitude of reasons. So, I mean, the story that's lost on it is that the Padres won the game. So we're going to get to that in just a second. But the Mason Miller stuff, today, Fletch and I have been going back and forth about it because it is a bummer. I mean, you knew the scoreless streak was going to end at some point. It wasn't going to last forever. It is crazy. Like, I'm watching that game last night, and the ball, the swing bunt down the third base side, and the fact that Major League Baseball does not have that much stuff that you can review, and then of course you can't review it because Ty France or because you touched it. I mean, kind of crazy that that's it's not like the NFL or the NBA where there's a gazillion fouls to review. There's a gazillion different holding, pass interference, a gazillion things you could look at in the NFL. Baseball, it's a bummer for Mason Miller in that, I know there was another run that scored because of the bounce pitch and Fermin didn't get in front of it, but it's a testament to how good Mason Miller is that the only time he has allowed runs this season is it's been off a BS call down the third base side and then a bounce pitch that Fermin probably should have got in front of, but it's also kind of hard to kill a catcher when he's throwing 102, 103 miles per hour. But it does kind of probably kill, unfortunately, the Mason Miller Cy Young conversation. His odds took a massive dip today. Not that it was ever, I don't know, I'd love to hear from everybody. Call us 877-767-4760, 877-767-4760, or text us 70470. Start your message with the team. Did you ever think that was a realistic possibility? Because although Mason Miller, the fact that he's even in the conversation and it's April 28th today is a testament to how he's one of the most dominant closers we've seen in a long time. But the problem with the Cy Young conversation is you're just not going to get as many opportunities as a starter. So you have to be perfect. And unfortunately, all of us watching that game last night knows that it was a BS call on third base side. Swanson did get that liner over to the left field, but and then the wild pitch. But 2 months from now, people are going to look back at that and go, that's 2 earned runs against Mason Miller. They're not going to really remember the situation behind it. But that's drawing a lot of headlines today. But the more important thing is that the Padres won a game because of their bats, and not a game in Mexico City, not a game in Colorado where the ball flies out. They did against the Cubs team that when Ballesteros hit that grand slam off Randy Vasquez, felt like kind of took the air out of the place. And then all of a sudden the Padres come back with the bats. And we talked about this yesterday that the Cubs bullpen is ravaged by injuries. You feel like you could get to them over the course of a game. And the Padres won a game when Randy Vasquez didn't have his best stuff. Hell, Mason Miller, although it wasn't really his fault, didn't have his best stuff on any given night. I mean, they won a game as the dampness over San Diego. It gets harder to hit home runs the later the game goes on. They were able to just implement their offense and not make it a game late. And you expect the Cubs to fire back today. They're a good ball club, but that does feel like over the next couple of days, something that the Padres need to look for is, can you get to the Cubs bullpen? Because of the injuries, you were going to have a massive advantage. And personally, it was nice seeing the Padres win a game that wasn't 2-0. It's great that the Padres can shut teams down with their bullpen, and that's fantastic. And when September and October come around, that's something that you want to have in your toolkit to what you can do. But here in April and in May and in June, when you're early on in the season, it's not great when you're sending guys out there every night and using this bullpen at a crazy usage. Sandman hasn't done a terrible job of that so far. I thought he's actually managed the bullpen decently, especially considering Mason Miller having a lot of this Cy Young conversation and has held him out of a couple different games, even though the fans probably would love to see him. But the way that they were able to win games where you didn't have to go with all your best guys. I know Miller came in the game. It was refreshing to see the Padres get a big win over a good baseball team in Chicago, not because they shut it down 1-0 or 3-1. The bats took control. Manny Machado will get an update on the injury. Craig Stammen saying he's fine. Hopefully that's the case. I mean, he went 3 for 4 and kind of built off that weekend he had down in Mexico City. So it was great seeing that. Hopefully the Padres can kind of continue that throughout the week. It's just that's the way I think you convince, not that you have to convince, but that's the way you convince the national media that I don't know is really buying the San Diego Padres, because metrically they're not super high up there in runs and offense. They rank middle of the pack in a lot of metrics. So you have a lot of people going, this is short lived. This is kind of, a hot start to the first month of the season. It's refreshing in a microcosm of one game. The Padres could win different ways besides just getting a couple runs, handing it off to the bullpen, and shutting it down. Because historically, teams that completely rely on their bullpen don't typically go far in the postseason. Now, the Dodgers have been an exception the last couple of years. They have been one of the highest usage of their bullpen. 2 years ago, the starting rotation was completely hit with a bunch of injuries. And we all remember, the Dodgers went with a bullpen game in Game 4 down in San Diego and kind of carried their way through the postseason with that. And last year, they had one of the highest bullpen usage rates as well. The dirty secret with the Dodgers a little bit last year is they were using a lot of guys who were never going to be playing in the playoffs. They were using bullpen arms they were bringing up from AAA in the minors to kind of get them through a lot of the season. But I thought Craig Stammen overall this year has done a good job holding Mason Miller back a few times in tough save situations and not trying to just go with your big guns every time out. But again, that's really up to the bats. Can the bats pull away in some of these games to where you can not have to use all your big guns? So a lot going on in Major League Baseball early on in the year. I mean, we saw, Red Sox fire their manager a week ago. Cora Thompson gets fired today from the Phillies. ESPN actually put out a list of the 2026 April All-Stars and disappointments. So there weren't a ton of Padres on here. Obviously the ace, the All-Star was Mason Miller. I mean, that can't even be debated. He's the best closer in baseball, and it's not even close. But the other Padres that came up on here, they had a disappointment as Nick Castellanos as a designated hitter, and they put Fernando Tatis in right field as a disappointment. It's great that Mason Miller is unbelievable, and that's something that the Padres just have in their tool bag that a lot of teams simply don't. When it comes to Tatis and Nick Castellanos, start with the Castellanos bit. I don't know that I'm going to sit here and say Castellanos has been a disappointment. I think it's a testament to Ty France and Miguel Andujar that these guys are actually taking time away from the big name in Nick Castellanos, because frankly, those guys have just been better than him so far this year. And you take away the name brand of that Nick Castellanos used to be a major player, a guy who signed a 5-year, $100 million contract with the Philadelphia Phillies. You take that away and he hasn't been playing as well as France or or Andahar and these guys. So it's hard for me to label him per this ESPN article as a disappointment at the DH spot because I don't think there were massive expectations for Castellanos because the Phillies are paying a lot of his salary and the Padres basically got him for nothing. So if he is something, he hit 17 home runs last year, 250 batting average, which is basically equivalent to Gavin Sheets. I mean, if he can show up in some big moments as the season goes on, we'll look at it as a positive, but I'm not sitting here crushing Nick Castellanos because Nick Castellanos' contract tells you what people think of Nick Castellanos. In regards to Fernando Tatis, now the Manny Machado injury, per Craig Stammen, supposed to be fine. We were talking about it earlier. You know, the Padres have been cagey over the years with injuries. We've seen it with Joe Musgrove, with Yu Darvish. Hopefully, he really is not hurt and is going to be out here playing tonight. But let's just say, for sake of argument, that Machado's out for a little bit, and we've seen him heating up over the last week or so. It puts even more pressure on Fernando Tatis because had a couple hits last night. We're still waiting on the home run ball, but if Manny Machado were to go on the IL, if that were to happen, and I'm not saying that is happening, but if it were to happen, it's probably a positive because we've been talking about for the last month or so here of, is this sustainable? Because the stars haven't really been coming through. Jackson Merrill's been struggling. Fernando's, the power has not been there. And Machado, up until the last week, had been struggling as well. I mean, this is the aggregate. This is how the Padres have really been winning for up until this point. So a Manny Machado injury, a Fernando Tatis injury, a Jackson Merrill injury, although we don't want to see that, over the last couple of years, probably would have spelled doom for the franchise because there was nothing coming from anywhere down the lineup. And this year, it's been the rest of the lineup and the pitching staff and the bullpen and the starting pitchers being a lot better than we give them credit for. That has kind of been carrying them. It's a shame if Machado were to be hurt for a little while now because you feel like he was starting to kind of come into his own. We've known over the years Manny Machado does go through these slumps where he literally can't hit a baseball, but then usually over the course of a season, it averages out. But with this ESPN article, they labeled this Fernando Tatis Jr. as the disappointment in Major League Baseball for right field, and it's fair. It's fair. It's 100% fair because if Machado is hurt, it puts even more pressure on Tatis to get it together. We're probably not giving enough criticism to Jackson Merrill, honestly, because Tatis gets a brunt of the criticism as well as Manny Machado. Jackson Merrill has not been the guy that we saw his rookie season. But if Manny Machado were to be hurt, it falls a lot on Tatis and Merrill because as much as we want to celebrate the aggregate of this team, and it's impressive that this team can win in different ways with Andahar and France and Fermin and Luis Campusano having a resurrection right now. And Gavin Sheets is doing Gavin Sheets type things. And again, a testament to AJ Preller that AJ Preller finds these guys for little to no money and kind of recreates and rebrands their career down here in San Diego. But if we were to see an injury to one of the big three, and if Manny Machado is out for a little bit, Fernando Tatis, the pressure falls on him and Jackson Merrill to get it together because Tatis, the expectations are through the roof to carry the franchise. All right, coming up next, again, 20 minutes. We got Chino Iglesias jumping on with me, and then Schaefer and Sliwa at 2:45. Got some hot quotes coming out of the NBA after ahead of tomorrow's big matchup. I'll tell you what those are. And rivalries are finally back in the NBA. Will it continue for the foreseeable future? That's coming up next on Going Long, San Diego Sports 760, live on the iHeartRadio app. We have Lakers Rockets Game 5 tomorrow night on San Diego Sports 760. Pregame coverage begins at 6:45 with the tip after 7. So we're going to get into that in a few minutes. Some spicy quotes. Chino's coming up in 10 minutes. We're going to get into the Lakers. Some spicy quotes coming out of Jabari Smith and Alperen Şengün, who I don't think realize they're down 3-1, 3-1 in the series, but we're going to get to that in a few minutes. Some text rolling in here, 760. Did anyone else notice how Miller only threw 2 of 3 fastballs out of his 21 pitches? Seemed odd. I'm sure they're good at hitting fastballs, but it seemed a little predictable last night. Yeah, it was kind of odd. He didn't have his stuff. I mean, we're holding Mason Miller to an unbelievable standard because that's what he's been. He's been exceptional, not giving up a run until last night. But we'll see going forward. It's amazing that he can throw that slider and throw 103, 104. It's a bummer that that's how the scoreless streak ended last night. It would be one thing if he got caught on a home run, a guy turned on a ball. I mean, nothing you could do with that, but to kind of bat him around the base pass and Swanson being really the only legit hit given up. We'll see about him going forward. We're going to get to the NBA in a few minutes. Some interesting stories. So the NFL, this came out today. Aaron Rodgers, they did a UFA tender on him per Adam Schefter. So it's an unrestricted free agent tender. So they will get it. The Pittsburgh Steelers will get a compensatory pick back if Aaron Rodgers signs with another team. Now, it wouldn't be the NFL offseason if we didn't get Aaron Rodgers drama every year. We're hearing, will he play? Will or won't he play? It'll be training camp before he signs. When this came out, I don't know why the Pittsburgh Steelers are so in love with him. I don't get it because they have no options. Like that's the only thing I could come up with because they take Drew Aller in the 3rd round out of Penn State. He was the number 1 ranked high school player. He never worked out at Penn State, had the best running back duo in the entire country and couldn't crack it. So I'm not putting a lot of faith in him, but it's these teams like in the NFL overall, if you don't have a quarterback, you're just screwed. And this is why I think Mike McDaniel, we talked to Matt Money Smith earlier on Fletch and Sammy at 12:30 about Mike McDaniel and what his addition has brought to the Chargers. I think this is why Mike McDaniel decided to turn down head coaching opportunities to go be an offensive coordinator. Why Mike Tomlin comes out yesterday and is talking about going to NBC and the fact that he going to NBC and talking about the lack of playoff success over the years for Pittsburgh. What he was really telling you with that was he's tired of coaching a team that doesn't have a quarterback. He doesn't have a QB. And Mike McDaniel probably went to it as well and said, I don't think Tua is the guy. And I'm not interested in Malik Willis, developing Malik Willis, or I'm not interested in trying to tank for another year. I'm probably on the outs. They get a new star player or new star coach to come in there and develop Arch Manning, Dante Moore, Lenoris Sellers, Julian Sand, whoever's going to be the quarterback of the Miami Dolphins for the foreseeable future. It brings us back to Pittsburgh. It just feels like Pittsburgh is stuck in its old ways because Aaron Rodgers going with Mike McCarthy. You could have hired a Jesse Minter. You could have hired a Mike McDaniel. You could have hired so many young offensive-minded coaches, and yet you go with the guy that you can sell because he won a Super Bowl in Green Bay. I mean, that's the guy that you go with. I don't get it in this. If you bring back Aaron Rodgers, which is obviously what they want to do because the Steelers are a proud franchise and they want to win as many ball games. They made that clear. They're not interested in tanking over the years. They're not interested in just bottoming out and being a subpar franchise for a year, which would actually help them develop a quarterback in the future. Aaron Rodgers is going to win them enough games to where they're not picking in the top 5, top 10 next year. And yet they're not going to win the division over the Bengals. They're not going to win the division over the Ravens. And we're back in the same place. You just swap Mike Tomlin out with Mike McCarthy. So it's a lot like college football. What do we say? It's the best thing to be is the next head coach in waiting. The coach at Nebraska, Matt Rule, the Penn State job comes open. He gets chipped out. Kurt Cignetti obviously won a championship, but got chipped out when they thought he was going to leave for Penn State. I think we're seeing head coaches in college football and in the NFL be a little bit more selective because I don't want to just go coach the Browns and then I'm fired in a year because I have no quarterback for the foreseeable future. I want to pick and choose. I think that's what Mike McDaniel's doing. I think that's what Mike Tomlin's doing, and clearly not what the Pittsburgh Steelers are doing because they're interested in bringing back a 42-year-old Aaron Rodgers. All right, let's go to the phones. 877-767-4760. King, you're on the air, man. What's up?
Hey, I wanted to get a quick take on the NBA, if I can do so, on the lowly Detroit Pistons after
Totally.
yesterday's loss. You know, great regular season, obviously. This happens to good young teams. They spend all their energy in the regular season. Obviously, Cade got hurt and missed a couple weeks. Still get the number 1 seed. Very physical team. They're burnt out. They're tired. They ran into a really, really physical, underrated defense in Orlando, and they're showing they're a real team. Jalen Duran disappeared. Where is he? Cade can't do this by himself. They're another piece away. Great regular season, but super disappointing to see them on the brink of elimination.
King, thanks for the call, man. I totally agree with you. I mean, if we're going to get into this more on the other side with Chino, if you're the Pistons, I think what that showed, you pointed out Jalen Duren, I like that point. You have to have a number 2 in the NBA. Gone are the days of I can just have an elite number 1 level player, and Cade Cunningham is a number 1 star. I truly believe that one day Cade Cunningham can be a number 1 on a championship winning team. Having said that, I think you're seeing this with the Knicks right now, despite Karl-Anthony Towns having a big game 4. They're back tonight against the Hawks. Jalen Brunson's a star. Can he be the number one on a championship winning team? I don't know, but I would venture to lean on the yes. I think Brunson is that kind of star, but it's all about having a number 2. I mean, Jalen Duren is a very good player. He's an all-star. He is not a franchise-altering player. And in that sense, to King's point, this is why the Magic come in here, a team that was massively underseeded. They fell to the 8th spot on the final day. You beat the Sixers in the play-in tournament to get in, and dealt with massive injuries throughout the year. Franz Wagner was hurt. Anthony Black was hurt. Jalen Suggs was hurt. And now all of a sudden, all these guys are healthy. And you're seeing them just completely outmatch the Detroit Pistons in the 8-versus-1 matchup. And it looks like Detroit will be going home. I think on the NBA, we've seen the last couple of years is it's teams that build from the ground up. Like look at Oklahoma City. Yes, Shea gets the headlines and Jalen Williams and Chet Holmgren, but it's Isaiah Joe. It's Alex Caruso. It's Lou Dort. When the Denver Nuggets won a championship, it was Bruce Brown. It was Christian Brown. It was the complementary pieces that ended up coming up clutch down the stretch. I think you got to have a couple stars and you have to round it out with complementary pieces. Thanks for the call, King. Again, give us a call, 877-767-4760. Anything on your mind, would love to hear from you. Coming up next, Chino Iglesias was out yesterday, back today, jumping on with me. That's coming up next on Going Along, San Diego Sports 760, live on the iHeartRadio app.
This report is sponsored by Mothers Against Drunk Driving. The Padres and Cubs are getting set for game 2 tonight down at Petco Park. It's going to be Edward Cabrera going for the Cubs and Walker Buehler going for the Padres. First pitch is set for 6:40. The Phillies are off to their worst start in over 2 decades. It's 9-19. They are tied with the Mets for the worst record in all of baseball, and they decided to change that today. They fired manager Rob Thompson. And Don Mattingly, Donnie Baseball, is the new interim manager for the time being. In NBA news, we got 3 more round 1 games tonight. The Celtics are going to try and close out the 76ers. That starts at 4:00. Atlanta is at New York. That starts at 5. And we got Portland and Spurs at 6:30. Both those series are tied at 2 games apiece. For victims of drunk and drug driving, your grief is unique, but you are not alone. You always have a place at MAD. Call the 24-hour victim helpline at 877-MAD-HELP or visit mad.org.
Ain't nothing wrong with a little heat. Getting warm around here.
Light the fires, Big Daddy.
Who's next in the hot seat?
Chino Iglesias. Channel 933. He's back. See, he's out yesterday. I missed my guy. No, I was like, he's back in today.
Yes.
Ready to go. How was your pops in LA?
Good. There's a point where in life, your parents stop raising you and you start raising them.
Yes.
So that's kind of where we're at. But, blessed he's still around.
Hell yeah.
That's
all I can ask for.
Yeah, exactly. 100%, man. So how'd your draft go?
Yes. So I was very excited to talk to you. I was pleased with how the Chiefs drafted. I like that they went all defense, trying to just hand the keys to Mahomes and Walker in this offense. Go, you take care of this. We're going to get a young defense. I'm curious about your Raiders. So obviously Mendoza, we knew that for months. Potential steal of the draft, Jermon McCoy in the 4th round.
Listen,
if you're not familiar with his draft profile, ripped his ACL, corner from Tennessee, and would be a top 10 pick if he hadn't gotten hurt. Teams got scared off because of his medical. What did you think of the Raiders draft kind of down the rounds?
I feel like everything was, and I think this is the theme since we've gotten this new regime, is everything is intentional. Everything seems like it's supposed to be that way. I was talking with B-Dub in the hallway just about, what if those emails never got out? Where would we be as a team?
Yeah. Gruden had that thing humming for a minute.
Humming, dude. Like we were getting there. We weren't there, but we were getting there. And where would we be? Maybe he would have attracted, other players. Maybe, Carr was never the answer, but where would we be? And it's interesting to me that everything happens for a reason. And now looking at the way that the team drafted, I'm excited because, like you said, steal of the draft, quite possibly. And all it's going to cost us is $1 million if it doesn't work out.
Right.
Really.
If it doesn't work, you took a high upside player in the 4th round. And if it does work out, you're going, you got a top 10 pick in the 4th round, which is pretty crazy. One thing I like what the Raiders did, and I got to give the Jets credit. Now, this happens every year with the Jets, but I like what they did with the draft. They set the table for the quarterback coming in next year. They got Omar Cooper Jr., David Bailey, Kenny and Sadiq. So if the cupboard's not bare, you're assuming if these guys can ball when the quarterback comes in. Like, I love what the Raiders did this, kind of implemented this model the last couple of years in Jency, Bowers, kind of getting the pieces in place. So then your quarterback comes and Fernando Mendoza. Big pieces. And you're like, Mendoza actually has weapons now.
Yep.
And I think that the Raiders actually have been a little bit of a model for the rest of the kind of teams in the draft picking at the top.
Not just the weapons, but the protection. The little anchors that we've been seeing throughout the draft, the Laki Tassi moving from defensive line to offensive line, or at least practicing with the offensive line. Like, where is this all going to go? I'm not a guy that gets hype or excited about preseason ball at all. Like, oh, there's a preseason game 1 is on.
You're not betting the preseason?
I don't care usually, but this time I can't wait to see what that it's going to look like, even for a series to go, okay, but competition starts week 1. So I'm not going, oh my gosh, it's our year. I got friends that are like, oh my gosh, it's finally our year. Relax.
I'm curious to your point about preseason though, is they've been cagey about the whole Kirk Mendoza thing.
Yeah.
Is Kirk just the mentor? Mendoza's going to start, or is Kirk really going to have it for a while and Mendoza's going to take over. I'm curious if Mendoza, if he plays well in the preseason, will that determine anything? And they're like, we need to get this guy on the field now, or is it already Kirk's got the job. I don't care how good he is. He'll get it 6 weeks into the year.
I don't think that we're going to learn that in preseason. We're going to learn that in camp. I think when they see him develop, it's either going to be he's got it right now, or let's take the foot off the gas, let Kirk go in there and do his thing, facilitate, don't be a hero, facilitate, run the offense, figure it out, and see where we end up with Fernando. It might be an entire year that we don't see Fernando on the field, as much as we want to, unless something happens, right? But it feels good. Another team that I see that I think had a great draft with the Chargers, man.
With Messidor?
I really feel like they address the pieces that they need. They still probably don't have a true one as far as a receiver goes. But I think the AFC West is going to be, we said this years ago, maybe 2020, like, oh man, AFC West is going to be the one to watch. And it ended up, not being the case. This might be the year. If Denver keeps up how they've been playing.
I think it's funny you say that. I think Denver is the team that should be concerned. And there's some Bronco fans that listen to our show that I know is going to come at me on the text line. But Denver feels like they rested on their laurels a little bit. And I know that they got Jalen Waddle, but you gave up a lot of picks to get him. And I think that we're going to see, you're not paying Bo Nix yet, so it may not come this year, but the whole point of winning with a quarterback who's going to get paid is filling out the rest of the roster and winning on day 3 of the draft.
Yeah.
I feel like the Chiefs are going to be back in the picture. I think the Raiders are going to be a good team, probably really gearing up for the year after, but the Raiders are certainly not going to be a walkover in these games. They're going to be a solid football team. And the Chargers are just getting healthier on the edges. It does feel like if you're Denver, you're just hoping that you're going to be back in the same spot and Bo Nix doesn't get hurt. I just think the division is going to be that much better.
I think the Broncos are hoping at least to pick up where they left off, which in a great position. Good for them. But there's one coach in the history of the NFL that has the most punchable face, and that's Sean Payton.
I can't.
I go on record.
So with you. Sean Payton, great coach.
Oh, I'm not questioning his coaching abilities.
Well, okay, think about that. Think about the AFC West in terms of coaches. Andy Reid, Harbaugh, Payton. Now Kubiak just won a Super Bowl as an OC with the Seahawks. We'll see how he is as a head coach.
Right.
But you're talking about so many, it comes down to coaching, and so many times in divisions, like you're getting the Jets you can walk over because they're just completely out of place over the years in terms of coaching and in terms of talent. Like there's not a walkover in the AFC West.
There's something about that guy that I just hope he stubs his toe every night on the way to the bathroom. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Let's just be honest here.
I'm curious your thoughts. I was talking about this yesterday. What were your thoughts on Ty Simpson to the Rams? Did you think that was aggressive or did you like it?
My cousin is a huge Rams fan, and we were talking about, and he's not a big college football guy, so he doesn't know any better. And I'm like, hey, how'd you like your pick, Ty Simpson to the Rams? He's all like, well, as long as my QB1 doesn't get hurt, I'm good.
Right.
And I'm like, okay, you get it then. You get it. I'm not mad at it. Maybe they can develop him. There's a lot of guys that come in and they get picked, I don't know, first round. I might have not made that pick as the Rams. I might have gotten a weapon or just a defensive monster for that squad. I don't agree with the pick. But then again, it's not my team. So,
right. It just felt like
it felt forced.
It felt forced. Now you want to take a quarterback when you don't need a quarterback. So I understand that thinking, but it also goes against everything the Rams stood for in less need and F them picks. Like that was the motto of that. You go get Von Miller and Jalen Ramsey, you win a Super Bowl over Cincinnati, and to a team that you have a 13th pick, and you're literally on the cusp. You get Trent McDuffie and Jalen Watson from the Chiefs with a corner spot. You feel like you could use a receiver. Mekhi Lemon was there. Kenny and Sadiq, the tight end on Oregon, was there. And you pass that up. I would get, if I was a Rams fan today, being very frustrated.
Sadiq would have cooked in that offense.
Unreal.
Cooked. I mean, talk about like a missed opportunity. But, they see what they see, and maybe they feel like a what if, because isn't Jimmy out? Jimmy's out, right? So
porn star Jimmy is out.
Who's the backup? Who's the real backup on that squad? If they hadn't gone after somebody, I wouldn't have wasted that pick on Ty Simpson.
I wouldn't have either. Brett, I believe we have some sound. So let's flip into the Lakers real quick.
Oh man.
Lakers get blown out the other night, game 4. Some chirping going on from the Houston Rockets after losing game 4.
Let them chirp and book their Cancun trip.
This is Jabari Smith Jr. at practice talking about the Los Angeles Lakers and where they stand in the series.
Just stay with it. Be us, be aggressive, play free. We're obviously the better team, I feel like. So just knowing that, being confident, trusting our work, and just telling us to be us.
Why do you think you're the better team in this series?
Us? I just feel like from top to bottom. You can say it's an opinion, you can say I'm biased, but I just think we're the better team.
Come on.
Let's
be real, Jabari. We're on a first name basis here, buddy. Let's be honest. Let's be real. Yes, you guys deserve to be where you are.
Yeah.
And that's down 3-1.
Mm-hmm.
The Lakers are not good enough, even with LeBron leading that squad, trying his best, being the 31-year-old on the court this series. The Lakers are still not good enough to beat a Houston team that, yes, has some injured pieces. I don't like Sengun or however you say it. I can't stand. There's something.
So he said earlier today as well. I didn't play the sound, but he said that we're the younger team. We're going to be healthier, and kind of got after him as well.
Say everything that you want. You're going to be gone from Houston. They're going to piece you up and take you and send you to Brooklyn or somewhere because you don't fit the growth of that team, right? You can.
And he's not a franchise guy. He can be a 3, a 2, maybe a 2 on a team. He is not a number 1.
Like you made the point of saying with Cade when King called in and talked about, they're a piece away. King was right, 100%, because Cade is not that guy to be. You said elite level. He's great. Cade Cunningham is great, but the point where I felt like, okay, sometimes we start to believe our own hype. And Cade is a little delusional. He's the same guy that says, I'm the best American player in the NBA, and I'm going to lead this Olympic team in 2028. No, you're not.
Well, and it shows you what happens when you don't have a supporting cast.
You need that.
You need the supporting cast. We've seen it go away in the NBA. It used to be get a big 3.
Yeah.
Get a big 3. And look how that worked outside of LeBron and Miami. It didn't work in Brooklyn with the Nets. It didn't work in Phoenix. Now there's a recurring theme there that Kevin Durant is on all these teams. But the big 3s don't work. We saw the Lakers do it. Russell Westbrook, LeBron, AD.
Bro.
It did not work. So building out teams, building out 2 stars with teams that can compete with role players that do their job is much better in today's NBA than just slap the names on there and see if they can score 40 a night.
Today's NBA, yesterday's NBA, the future NBA, you cannot force chemistry. When the Lakers picked up Karl Malone and Gary Payton, I'm like, what are we doing?
Right. That team on paper had no business losing, and yet they did because they're, to your point, zero chemistry.
You can't force chemistry, and that's where we have man, look at OKC, dog. They are firing on all cylinders. They're having fun. That's what the game is all about. Getting out there, balling, having fun, and just all smiles on the court, high fives, the whole 9. They've got it figured out. And for the foreseeable future, they're going to be the team to beat unless something crazy happens. Like if, something, and I don't wish injury on anyone, but something happens to Shai or Chet goes back to his planet, wherever he's from. You know what I mean?
So, Cancun ticket for Jabari Smith on Wednesday night?
Man, first class.
Amen, brother.
Clip that and send it to him.
Yes, sir. Chino, you're the greatest. Channel 933.
Yes, sir.
Afternoons. You can listen to him over there. The best. Joins me every Monday. He'll be back on Monday, hopefully talking about Lakers and Thunder in the next round. Coming up next, we got Schaefer and Sliwa joining for the crossover on San Diego Sports 760, live on the iHeartRadio app. He's got an iced coffee, and the first thing he says to me is, "This is what's going on." And I was like, "What?" It's like, "This is unbearable." So I can't even be in
literally
here.
feel like I'm at the gym right now, and I'm going in. I'm taking a shower after this.
I'm not feeling it. I mean, like a little bit.
Here's what happened. Let me give some more context.
Were you pumping some iron before this or something?
Here's what happened. I went across the street. John told me there's a good coffee shop across the street. I was unaware of that up until about a week ago.
I don't know about this.
Okay, there we go.
Oh, it's great.
It literally is. It's so hidden. I have no idea how they exist, but I think it might be one of those. It's so hidden, people find out about it and
it's a need to know basis.
So I had to hustle over there, and then when I got in there, I just grabbed a nice coffee shaver and just thought it was real quick. It's already made. This guy he went old school on me. He started brewing coffee. It was going to take a while, so maybe that was it. I was in a rush.
So he was brewing. Okay. By John, how you doing out there?
Dude, I'm good. It's it's good. The weather's been nice, and I'm coming back tomorrow. You know that feeling when you got to like wake up early and you're kind of thinking about it.
How early?
The day, but like it's kind of gotten into my. You don't know that feeling?
No, I said how early. How early you got to get up tomorrow?
Oh, I got you. I mean, it's not that early. It's an 8:20 flight.
Okay.
Out of Philadelphia, but you know what I mean. By
but
the
that's
time
also you're still on San Diego time.
Well, no, I'm fine with the time. It's just you start doing the math on it, and it's like you got to get up early to get on an 8:20 flight.
John, can you stop whining, man? What is going on here?
The guy that's freaking out about AC in here.
It's 100 degrees in the studio.
Yeah, Alan.
How quick was I to just throw it off that somebody else was whining, even though it was all me?
Always deflect. John, I don't know about you, Alan. I'm curious your thoughts. As someone, there's nothing worse to me than getting on a flight in the morning and having to work that day later on.
I do it all the time.
It is
especially John's world. Oh yeah, that's like your foundation,
right? Because John's calling games and everything.
Yeah. And then the story this past year, I won't let it down, is when I was sitting at the San Diego airport going to San Jose, and I just sat there on my laptop and the plane left without
the best.
me.
It's one of the best stories I've ever heard.
And then I'm like, I'm going to miss this game. And I had to do a show that day. I had to do a show. Sammy probably joined me. And then a game. And thankfully, there's like 8 flights a day to San Jose. But I'm like, what if I don't make it now? But yeah, so I'm always thinking about it, is the point.
Luckily, it was San Jose, because I don't think there's 8 flights a day to Laramie, Wyoming.
Correct. I wouldn't have made it. I would have called the game from the studio if it was Laramie or something like that.
What you boys got coming up on the show today?
We got a lot right now. I mean, last night. That's all you got to say. I mean, we could probably do a 4-hour show today.
A lot of angles from that game against the Cubbies. Looks like we got Darren at 4, right? Darren Smith's going to join us.
Darren at 4.
We're going to do 2 things. We're going to talk Padres, and we're going to panic about SDFC.
Okay.
And we're going to hope that he gets us off the ledge of panicking. Eric Pincus from Bleacher Report is going to come on at 4:30. We'll talk some NBA hoops. If you're an NBA fan, it's a fun time of the year. I mean, they're cramming so many games. Yesterday might have been the best. I love the way they had, like, when one game was going, by halftime, the other game was starting. I like that kind of trickle effect there.
That's a great point, because they have the game starting at 4, 5, and 7. So it's nice that they're not all finishing at the same time, because one game is like better than the other. I'm curious tonight. We got 3 matchups. The Knicks and Hawks kind of lead it, but it does feel like after the panic early from the Spurs and the Celtics when they both lost game 2, the Wemby injury, probably looking to close out the series tonight. But I do think that the NBA playoffs has been fun overall. Like this Minnesota-Denver series, I know Minnesota's missing some pieces, but that's been good. The Raptors, Cavs, Knicks, Hawks, like a lot more competitive first round, I think, than we give the NBA historically. First rounds aren't quite as competitive.
Yeah, and that's what you want. Like in an ideal world, the NBA, of course, they're going to be dependent on the Lakers. They're going to be dependent on some of those not just the key franchises, but stars that play for certain teams. I feel like this playoff run, you're right. Like I found myself watching Orlando and Detroit yesterday. I found myself.
How did I forget about that?
I found myself watching some of these other games that even San Antonio, Portland's kind of a new team, so some new blood in there. I agree with you. It's been a better first round than expected.
I think the Celtics are in trouble. I know they only beat the Sixers by 40 in Game 4.
Is that
I don't know.
Is that the feeling out there in Philly?
Yeah, the feeling out in Philly is the Sixers are about to pounce with this.
Yeah,
team.
no, they're planning already the finals. They have like an idea of when.
Well, they wanted to go down 3-1 to make it more like compelling and
dramatic.
Get those betting odds. Get the juice in.
Yeah.
It's such. I mean, literally, Philadelphia is playing chess.
Yeah,
everyone else is playing checkers.
By the way, when do we have a conversation about when we move on from Joel Embiid? When does that start? I'm sure Philly Radio's got 4 hours of that.
No, I think it's fair. I think it's a fair conversation. Absolutely.
All right, Schaefer Sliwa, keep on listening. Coming up next, I'll be back with Fletch tomorrow at 12. Are you fine? Is it too hot in here?
It's getting a little better.
It's getting a little better. It's cooling off for Sliwa. All right, Schaefer boys, have a good show.